Welcome back, everyone, to the Titan Series Season 6 Premier Division Week 3, the final week for the qualifiers before we head into next week's finals. $20,000 on the line. Today, we will find out who our top 10 teams will be, who will be the top 10 teams to stamp their ticket into finals, and who will be the bottom 6 having to go against the 80 or so teams that tried to qualify for the Challenger Finals. It's only going to get more serious from here. I'd much rather qualify today than risk my chances going into, well, December 9th next week for the Challenger Finals. I'm a Taylor Reflections. No, I was about to say your host, but I'm doing a little bit of everything tonight. Let's bring in our talents. We got Mustache Dave and Power Bang. PB, welcome, man. Hey, it's Titan Series Season 6, man. I talked about this in the beginning. It's like, it's crazy, right? Season 6, we've been doing this for about 2 years now. You created this whole thing. How does it feel to be back?
Oh, it feels always so good to be back on the desk of anything PUBG Mobile related, but most specifically the Titan Series. You mentioned it. It's one of my babies in this community, and so excited to see all these teams, some super familiar to me, some new that I haven't really had a chance to watch before, but a lot of the same players out there. It'll be great to see everybody hit the battlegrounds today and try to duke it out to get into those finals next week.
Right, the finals, they're coming up quick. It's been a lot of fun. Dave, you've been here since the very start whenever it comes to Titan Series, but also Season 6. You've been seeing these guys develop themselves, and, well, today we get serious, right? It's the final chance for a lot of these rosters to punch their ticket into finals.
Yes, sir. Top 10 making it to the finals. There's a new sheriff in town, by the way. Oh, look at that. I got my PUBG Mobile 14
Nice.
Carat sheriff's badge. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to tonight. And I'm looking forward to Dauntless, baby. Showing up tonight, getting back to back, two back, winner, chicken dinners. They're going to clean sweep tonight.
Clean sweep. Back to,
Dauntless,
so
baby.
4? You only did back-to-back 3 times. So
Back
are they
to
at least
back
losing
to back
one?
to back.
To back to back to back to back. So four backs. All right. Like, hey, that's all right. Let's see Dauntless doing it. You've been their biggest supporter. They've been all right. They're currently in 5th place. They should be relatively safe, but you never know how things are going to shake up. Titan Series, 6 seasons. This season's, though, was a little bit different. In fact, it's our longest Titan Series to date. There would be 6 total days played. Today is day number 6. Of course, this is day number 3 of the broadcasted matches, but these teams have also been playing every Sunday since Titan Series Season 6 Premier Division started. So 6 total days of competition. The top 10 qualify for Premier Finals. We'll know the top 10s today. Bottom 6 will qualify for Challenger Finals. So even if one of your 6 teams that maybe your favorite team didn't make it into Premier Finals, they still have a chance, but they're going to have to grind, right? There's a lot of competition over in the Challenger side of things. 80 teams competing. Of course, only 10 teams make it out of the Challenger qualifiers. But bonus points are important, and you do want to qualify for top 10, and the reason why is because you earn those bonus points heading into the Premier Finals, which will be taking place December 10th, so next week. Let's take a look at the prizing, though, why everybody is here. We're talking $20,000 on the line.
Woo!
PB, I believe this is our biggest prize pool for Titan Series today.
Absolutely. It is positively 20 grand going out to the winners and those runner-ups here for the Titan Series Premier Division. I love to see the increasing support behind this this event, and so cool to see it grow in scope, not only in prize pool, but also in number of teams and participants each season. So really, really cool stuff. And you mentioned those bonus points just a second ago. I really hope teams realize how important those are, because we've seen just 1 or 2 of them mean the difference between thousands of dollars, as you can see on this page.
Yeah, that's right. And I believe, I'm not too familiar, but I believe it's 10 points, if I'm not mistaken, bonus points going in if you get first place, which is a massive deal. Now, granted, sometimes you could say there's a little bit of a curse there, right, when it comes to Premier Finals, but 10 points, I'd rather have it than not have it, regardless of that curse. Maybe these players aren't superstitious. I don't know. Maybe they're wearing the lucky socks. You never know how it goes. But let's get into the meat and potatoes of today, right, because it's a serious day. You want to make sure you're top 10. We look at our standings. At least you get 8 of them here. Dave, you've been watching them since the start. 0-2. Have refused to let go of first place. iNCO's been very close to catching them, but today I think this is their furthest gap going into a broadcast day. What are we looking at? Set the stage.
Yeah, you said it, 0-2. They just came out the gate swinging here on day number 1, and they have not let their foot off the gas yet. So GG's to 0-2 for just constantly showing up here on every single game day. But really, the main focus of today's matches has to be the cutoff point. X Factor, TGames Esports, NRG, Maryland, NA. I mean, we're looking at teams that are, heck, we got 10th and 11th. They're tied right now, fellas. So at the end of today, we got 4 more matches to go. And we're going to be harping on this all day long. Top 10 move to Premier Finals. So I'm looking at those squad tier reflections that are right there on the cusp.
On the cusp, indeed. You know, there's been a story, PB, about 0-2 and iNCO and how they've been leading the charge, but more so how close it's been 3rd through 8th place. There's a bit more of a gap now than there was at the start of the broadcast last week. But even still, right, from 3rd to 6th place, we're talking 141 to 131. There's only a 10-point difference. That's simply a winner chicken dinner minus eliminations, right? So, you know, there's going to be some shakeups in our top 10 today, I'm sure of it.
Absolutely. I mean, you take a peek at the top of the standings here. We've got 0-2 riding most of their rosters from Team Raid, right? 3rd place at PMSL. Not a bad choice at all to finish on top here, and they've been the most consistent team by far. But I personally normally would ride for Dauntless, but since Dave, that's your bag for this tournament, I'm gonna have to go with iNCO, man. 4 winner chicken dinners so far. Historically, a Brazilian org has moved into NA, and they have really come to compete. So I'm looking at iNCO to kind of punch their ticket here to the finals with some style.
Yeah, I mean, iNCO's a solid pick, dude. They've been playing really, really well. I mean, after all, the most winner chicken dinners, only bested by 0-2 when it comes to eliminations, and they've been the only team to realistically challenge 0-2. I think maybe Ace of Spades at one point after week number 1, after the first 2 days. Regardless, iNCO's been the best team. We look at page number 2, and, you know, you already kind of set the stage for this, Dave. We'll go through it once again, right? You mentioned TGames and X Factor, but more importantly, X Factor and Maryland. They are both tied. So talk to me about this tiebreaker. If we do end up in that situation, they're both at 1 winner chicken dinner. How would X Factor and Maryland break that tie?
A tiebreaker. I might need a confirmation. I wasn't paying attention on my homework, but I believe winner chicken dinners are first, right?
Right,
gentlemen, and then
they're tied on that.
Yeah, and then after that, it's rank points and then elimination points, right? So winner chicken dinner, rank points, then elimination points. So right now, X Factor, they have less rank points actually than Maryland NA. So
that's right.
Yeah, so that's where the tie would finish here. So it's really coming down to, like Powerbank said, 1 or 2 points at the end of today.
That's right, just 1 or 2 points, man. So every elimination, it counts, especially if you're going to be tied with the same wins. Maryland's been a team that I've been harping on quite a bit. I've been very impressed with them. I think they're a great roster. We've got this thing called the NA Pro Scrims, which is also a great addition to the PUBG Mobile landscape for America's region, more specifically. $4,500 on the line for that. The, I believe, 3rd and final week about to be coming our way very shortly. There's already been 2 weeks so far. That's going to be taking place on the 5th. Coming up on the 5th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, $4,500. It's you know, those scrims have been great. And last week, I believe it was Golden Eagles who ended up flying high, taking first place for week number 2. Ace of Spades just below them in the 0-2 in 3rd place. So it was Maryland, Dave, who led the charge in the scrims, and that's what put me on their radar. You said scrims, they don't really matter, but they ended up playing very well. They ended up playing well. But then, well, come on. It matters this week for Golden Eagles. I'm keeping the narrative alive. Golden Eagles, they're flying high today, baby.
Yeah. So real quick, I did get an F on my homework. So it goes total first place finishes, winner chicken dinners for the tiebreaker, by the way. After that, it's total eliminations and then placements. So I got it mixed up for those of you who are in the chat listening on in. So, hey, man, I flunked a grade once or twice. You know, it happens, right? So we're here, though. All right, we're here.
What are you, a senior now, Dave, in high school?
Yeah, this is the year. Algebra 1. Hopefully, you know, I got a tutor and all, so hopefully I'll pass.
Let's get it. I'm rooting for you, man.
I know that tutor's not me. All right, we've seen how bad that math can be, bro. Maybe PB, I don't know. Hey, congratulations on senior year, though. That's a big deal for you.
It's a big year. It really is. Finally got a car. Started to drive this year. You know.
Yo, let's
big
go.
Things
get that yearbook. Give me a spot to sign, dude. I want to get my message into you.
The thing is, a lot of people when I go to school, they think I'm a teacher, but I'm in class. You know, because the mustache. I just in middle school, so I totally get where the confusion is.
You know, I feel like you would fit very well with like the 70s and 80s yearbook. You know, you go back and you look at the 70s and 80s, and I swear everybody looked like they were in their 30s. I don't know what they were feeding those kids back in the day. But man, you know, and then you go back and you look at me, and I look like I was still in junior high in senior year. You know, it's like, what happened? Okay, production agrees. That's okay. That's okay. Anyways, Dave, you'd be in the most likely to succeed category in the yearbook, man. You definitely would.
Not first, not second, but like the fourth time around, right? Most likely to succeed the fourth time around. So
if it took you
just
4
keeps
times,
getting more and more likely, Dave.
Yeah. He's got heart. He's got heart, and that's what matters, you know?
That's it. That's it. Well, 4 games today. We start on Erangel. Erangel last week was incredible, man. It was a lot of fun. The bridge fights were just nutty, to say the least. I believe we ended up going to military, if I'm not mistaken, and getting a finish there. Open field, of course, cars were just going nuts. Horses were everywhere. Shout out to Metalcore for letting us know about the horses and the transition from pub play into competitive play. It was exciting, without a doubt. I do wonder, and I'll put this on you, Dave. Shining Legacy, man, they're 47 points behind. You know me, I like my moonshots when it comes to certain rosters. One thing I like about Shining Legacy is they have shown us some pretty good promise. They need a meteoric day today, but they normally do this 2-2 split, which is pretty wild. Sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. But they're one of I think, the most aggressive teams outside INFERNO Esports. Remember INFERNO just pushing into the houses aggressively? Yeah. Wild stuff. So INFERNO, Shining Legacy, 15th and 16th. What do you expect from them?
Yeah, I mean, I know you like making me the bad guy out here, and I'm the sheriff in town, so I get it. But out of the 2 teams, I'm definitely rooting for INFERNO Esports a little more. We saw some glimmers of light from them in the last 2 days, or last 2 games that we saw from them on our last broadcast, that we were complimenting them a lot on. It just came down to timing on their rotations and their team fights. Just working together as a team would be big for them here tonight. So if they can learn from those hard lessons last week, tighten up here tonight. 39 points is a tall ask in 4 games. When it comes to Shining Legacy, I think they're already preparing for the Challenger Finals at this point. But INFERNO Esports, maybe. All right, maybe. I can see where you're coming from on that team specifically.
I just like the aggression, you know, and they put themselves
and the
in
matching outfits.
And the matching outfits, which, trust me, makes a difference. Makes a difference. Well, from the bottom, let's go back to the top and second place. PP, you've been mentioning iNCO. iNCO is your team, right, to shine. Wansho is back from PMGC, and Wansho is apparently playing with iNCO today. That's going to be the only change-up in the rosters. We know Wansho and how good of a player he is. Back with iNCO. This roster might do some magical things today.
Coach Wansho shooting up the roster ranks here, getting into the lineup tonight for iNCO. You love to see it, claiming his rightful place on the battlegrounds here. He's a tremendous asset to really any team, and for a team in second place right now with the most chicken dinners to pick him up, that's going to be a really interesting thing to watch as tonight goes on. So definitely, I'm liking the direction iNCO's going. They've already got a good head of momentum going. They've got 4 more games to kind of prove it here on the battlegrounds, and they're within snipe distance of that first place spot. Another team I'm looking at, though, Taylor, is number 4 right now, straight out of Nepal. These guys came in on day 5, and they haven't been able to pick up many winner chicken dinners. They've got 1 right now to their name, but they're really consistent, finishing in the top 5 multiple times. Each and every game, it seems like they're right there. They can start stringing together some wins and maybe picking up a few more elims. They're going to be right in the mix of this as well.
Yeah, straight out of Nepal, man. They're a great roster to watch. And Blaze is the guy that we're consistently harping on because he's just such a great player. And Blaze has made some good plays, Dave. You know, we've been watching him. And I want to say he's kind of bailed out straight out of Nepal a couple of times.
Yeah, if I recall, he had at least 2 plays of the tournament where it was like a 1v3. Blaze had the bison, and homie was just letting it rip out here. So we've seen a couple that was an instant replay. That was it right there. And that was his face too. That was his face doing the full gyro. Yeah, but this season alone, though, I feel like has definitely been a notch above the other Titan series, just because we're starting to see like individual players as well really shine and showcase their in-game abilities here this season. We've had multiple 1v3s, almost 1v4s here this season.
That's right.
So seriously, like the competition in Titan series, it's top notch right now. I mean, everybody's firing on all cylinders, in my opinion.
I think yeah, I agree with you. It's the best it's ever been. Being part of the Titan series since at least season 1. I know there was a season 0, but at least season 1, it was like, watching them from then to now, it's just night and day. And I think that's because of Americas. I really do. PMSL, they have something to shoot for now, a little bit more competition. They now really they're taking it seriously. I think for our region, Alpha 7 helped that quite a bit, obviously winning on the world stage. That was incredible from them. And you mentioned 1v4s. There was at least a 1v3. He could have got the 4th one if his teammate wasn't stingy. PB, it was on Dauntless. This guy, his name is Klaus, right? And you know Klaus, okay? And he was in the shack, the death shack. Ends up 1v3ing, no reason. I wish we could show a replay of that play because it was just incredible. He's in the shack, PB, and he's just gunning down players left and right. Now, I don't know why these guys are running into his bullets, but anyways, he'll take it to the bank. It was definitely the play of Titan series. Klaus from Dauntless, PB. Such a good play. Such a good play.
Love it. If there was anyone that would not surprise me, Klaus is right at the top of that list. Klaus, for me, is one of my favorite players in PUBG Mobile. Been a big fan of him, all along here, and it goes all the way back to season 1 of the Titan series, repping Dauntless this whole time. So a big shout out to Klaus as well for not only kicking some serious butt over all this time, but also sticking with the same team, same org for all this time as well. That's not super common, especially in this region. So I got a lot of respect for that.
Not common at all, man. But that loyalty is going to pay off because Dauntless is on the up and up. They're looking great. Currently 5th place, looking to go all the way today. And of course, they've got Dave to back them up. And hey, that carries some weight. All right, that hits a little bit harder than you would think. All right, Titan Series Season 6 Premier Division Week 3 is about to be underway. But before we get Map 1 started, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Erangel coming your way. Welcome back, everyone, to the Titan Series Season 6 Premier Division Week number 3, the final day of the qualifiers. The top 10 teams will be decided after the 4 games you are about to witness. Who will it be? Get loud and proud for the team you're supporting. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, joined by Mustache Dave, and Power Bang. Map number 1 is loading in. We're going into Erangel to start off the day. PB, I'm hoping you being here makes things go crazy, man, because last week was nutty. I want this week to be even crazier. Knowing our luck, though, with you, it's probably going to be one of the slowest Erangels we've seen yet.
No way. Every time I show up, there's one team that feels inspired, and they just go absolutely crazy. We saw it in PMSL. We've seen it in the Titan series, and I'm eager to see who it is today that's going to step up and get the job done. Rumor has it Spec might be out there today with XYQ. Is that the case that you're aware of? Reflections? Obviously, we'll see here in just a minute when we load in. That's what I'm hearing from the rumor mill.
Spec and XYQ. I did hear Spec was coming in. Now, if it's with XYQ, that's pretty cool. And XYQ, how are they looking? Well, they're a little bit further down the leaderboard, 28 points away from breaking in the top 10. I think Spec would be a wonderful addition. Okay, Spec was incredible when it came down, whenever it came up to PMSL fall season specifically. And I believe he is with XYQ, and he will be ABC today. So if you see XYQ ABC, that's good old Spec. So, Dave, let's talk about XYQ with Spec. What's their chances now to clear the 28 points in the top 10?
Yeah, it looks like Spec is also IGLing, leaving Valak to kind of run and gun here tonight, try to get some eliminations on the board. Looking at XYQ as a whole, they have 43 total eliminations with 31 rank points and 1 winner chicken dinner. So, like you said, 28 points behind. My only fear is we've been seeing a lot more consistency from like X Factor, NRG, and even Super Lazy Reflex this season. And those squads are ahead of XYQ. Not even mentioning like Golden Eagles and your favorite squad, Maryland NA, who you said is going to get a win or two here tonight. So when it comes to XYQ, you might as well go for it. Throw the Hail Mary. That's what they're doing here tonight. So let's see how it unfolds.
Yeah, Spec was on that NRG Galaxy roster throughout the PMSL fall season. He didn't do too bad. He definitely had one of the top slaying scores whenever it came to the roster. I'm hoping that's going to carry over today, especially as the IGL. Can he do a little bit of everything? Well, let's find out. We're heading into map number 1 of the final day for qualifiers for the Titan Series Season 6 Premier Division. Who's going to take this one? I'm liking the plane path. PB, this plane path definitely says things might get a little bit weird.
100%, especially if that zone goes north up towards Georgia Pole shooting range area when the plane path is nowhere nearby. We'll obviously see that circle pop here in just a minute. But before we get too into it and see that zone, who's taking this one, boys? Let's get some predictions. Dave, who you got?
Predictions. I got to stick with Dauntless. This is the day. All right, I've been calling Dauntless for a couple weeks now here. So Dauntless, don't let me down. Let's get game 1 in the pocket.
Dauntless is a good answer for me. Super Lazy Reflex. I think they're taking game number 1. They have a good track record for taking Erangel map 1. In fact, if you go back to day 1 of our broadcasted qualifiers, winner chicken dinner on Erangel map 1 plus 14 eliminations. It was one of the biggest games we've seen yet. We have seen bigger, I do believe, and I'll verify that. I believe up to 20 if I'm not mistaken. But regardless, SLR, my pick. What about you, PB?
I'm going to go with the Golden Eagles of North America. Cacao, baby. We're going to see Frady lead him to the promised land here. That's what's going on. Golden Eagles, he's going to take it here. Despite being in 13th place overall, they're going to need a pick-me-up and a chance to head up those leaderboards. You guys mentioned it, though, with X-Force, right, sitting 17 points back. That is very much within striking distance for sure. XYQ just 28 points back right now. Those are just a few good games. And they'll have the opportunity to leap over X Factor and Maryland NA, who's sitting just a couple of chicken dinners worth ahead. So really any team right now still in it, but they've got to have a monster day here today.
All right, NRG on your screen, and we did see 24K. 24K is going to be all the 9s, just so you know. They're going to be all isolated by themselves on the left side in Primorsk, so they probably won't see a lot of activity, but I do look more towards the right side of military, and that's where Dauntless is at. And Dauntless, has at times been gatekeeped going across that right side's bridge from military to mainland. And Straight Outta Nepal has actually been a team who's been doing that. I believe Ace of Spades is also another one, but they're going to be on military just to the left of Dauntless, so there's not a lot of risk there. But I am curious for Dauntless rotating up to Straight Outta Nepal if they decide to gatekeep them. The reason why is because, well, that's like the edge of zone. Dauntless doesn't have to move as quickly, but Straight Outta Nepal could guard that bridge to cut off the military teams. And I think, Dave, that could be maybe a risky prospect for Dauntless in the future.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, we've been seeing that battle throughout the entirety of the tournament, right? Every time we do get to spectate this map, it either goes one way or the other, right? So Dauntless, they've been able to gatekeep Straight Outta Nepal a couple times, and now vice versa on this game. Like you said, Straight Outta Nepal might have the opportunity to do the same thing and get that revenge play here on possibly 2 different teams, right? If I'm looking at Ace of Spades, I might actually look to utilize that east bridge as well, just because it's like the easiest pathway in. The thing is, they're going to have to play their cards right here because they know Dauntless dropping Novo. So you're going to want to play it nice and slow, maybe backstab Dauntless on their approach over that bridge, and Ace of Spades might be looking to get some good early game eliminations here this game because of that.
Ooh, iNCO's on the move, and INFERNO Esports might be a team that they might indirectly challenge, and in fact, they've got a 2-2 split going on, PB.
They are surrounding INFERNO right now, who is taking up the mantle in Severny. They're looting Severny, and you've got 2 from iNCO in shooting range and 2 scouting Severny right now, so this is really interesting, and I will say that off the drop, INFERNO did take a bunch of damage. So there were all 4 players got pieced up a little bit and they were on the run. And from wherever they were at, they had to bail and ultimately chose Severny as their landing spot. So you can see them all kind of beat up still on their health bars. And I'm wondering, did iNCO kind of sniff that out? Are they going to attack? It looks like they've passed them by for the moment, headed towards Zarky. But interesting developments up north, heading, far away from the play zone as this blue zone comes in.
They're really far away. I thought they were going to challenge or at least attempt it. But INFERNO, regardless where they are in the standings, which is in 15th place, nearly dead last, like that's a team I don't want to mess with. We've been watching them make some pretty incredible plays. They're a special team that knows how to make special plays, and I wouldn't want to go against them at any point in time, regardless of their standings on the leaderboard. But iNCO might double back. They're going to have to anyways to battle against Papa Blue, but now it seems they want to get as many resources as possible. I'm okay with that. Why not? As far as Dauntless, they have not moved across that bridge yet, so straight into Nepal, still chilling. Nobody fighting just yet, and I don't think anybody kind of has to. I am keeping my eyes on Maryland, though, who is not far away from 0-2, Dave.
Yeah, and going back real quick to INFERNO, looks like 2 of their squad mates had an M249, so good call for iNCO to pull off that one. But going back to Maryland with their little 2-2 split, they got Toyota chilling in Mansion. Actually, they got a 3-1 split going on right now. So TGames right across the road, actually. Becker going to start to take some shots with the Scar. Going to be alerting TGames of this team's position here. But Maryland, pretty good spot here. Game number 1. They are in 11th position. So just based on their position alone on this map, it's telling me that they're playing for that late game, right? They're going to turtle up. They're going to try to survive, show up in the late game with the whole squad alive, and try to accomplish a winner chicken dinner. So they're not looking for those risky early game team fights here this game.
Yeah, because we talked about that tiebreaker, right? Maryland X-Factor tied at 1-1, so getting a win here would be huge. SLR, my pick, runs into some early troubles as Shining Legacy decides to get a bit mixy there, and SLR will at least lose 1, or at least get it. No, they will lose 1, so that's going to be tough to try and fight back from that. This is a roster, PB, that SLR, you never know what you're going to get. It's a mixed bag. Like, when they're firing on all cylinders, they're incredible, but sometimes they just look like a shell of themselves, and I don't know why they're so inconsistent. They're going to have to clean up their act, especially going into finals, which I am assured they're going to make it, but just the consistency, it's not there for me. In only 4 games, you run into some trouble.
Man.
Like Golden Eagle.
There's Brady.
Come on. We are caster cursing the crap out of these guys right now. I called Golden Eagles on the back of Frady, and of course he gets shot in the head immediately when the game starts. So Golden Eagles in trouble right now. Moso goes down as well, as this is TGames looking pretty strong right now, and they're going to chase down the Golden Eagles. Looks like, can they connect on the Buggy? Buggy is going to make it out of here for now. TGames, though, coming out with an impressive win in this first battle. They don't get the finish as Golden Eagles sneaks 1 away, but not the way they were hoping to start this game.
They're hunting them down. They're looking for that final player here, PB. I mean, talk about the curse. Golden Eagles, they might be, they are the first team eliminated here tonight. Golden Eagles coming into tonight's match 13th overall, 22 points behind that 10th place spot. So hopefully for the Golden Eagles, they could work on that mental fortitude, right, with their 3 more games to go.
All right, I got a plan for next game's predictions. I'm just going to pick a better team and then probably have
they're going to be
better shot.
It doesn't matter, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. Fair enough. Well, TGames winning that is big because they were on the cusp, if you will, at 9th place. They had a relatively decent lead, 14 points over X Factor in 10th, but TGames, they can't leave anything up to chance. So getting those first early knocks and first early initials, who knows how far they can go. One good game here could very well solidify their spot in top 10, which they already are, and who knows, push them into the Premier Finals. Coops will drop, and Dauntless runs into some issues. Ace of Spades applying the pressure, and we talked about that bridge fight. It's going down, Dave.
Yeah, it looks like Ace of Spades actually getting ahead of Dauntless. They're going to be the first team to try to rotate across this bridge, and you called it. Coops was spotted, tagged, and bagged, so that's going to set them back, and now Klaus is pretty much on the retreat as we see the entirety of Ace of Spades on the hunt down right now.
On the hunt indeed. Dauntless on the run, and they've got to go all the way back to military. It's like, how far do you decide to go? Do you want to, do a wide loop, make it back to bridge? Will Ace of Spades go back to the base of the bridge and camp them? Well, no, it seems as if this is going to apex into just a phenomenal fight, and Ace of Spades clearly have the advantage, and Dauntless have to fight tooth and nail. Granted, both of these rosters very healthy when it comes to their top 10 placement, but a lot of ego on the line. This very well could be a snapshot for what we could be expecting for finals next week, PB.
It's really tough. I'm surprised, honestly, that Dauntless got caught here because they had the positional advantage dropping in Novo. Coops had rotated out fairly early on, and I thought they were going to make an early rotation play. I was more worried about the bridge camp on the north side of that bridge from Sons of Nepal, or straight out of Nepal, rather, and they got caught early from Ace of Spades on the rotation. So ultimately here, I feel like it was a bit of a misstep by Dauntless. Klaus is going to stay alive for the moment and kind of watch as these guys clear out, but this is a bad spot for Dauntless to be in for sure.
Oh, without a doubt. And Klaus, he's still being gate kept, and Ace of Spades can kind of leave him alone potentially. I mean, that zone's not too far up, but I mentioned straight out of Nepal, you've still got them to deal with for Ace of Spades as soon as they break Papa Blue into the zone. And you got Frankie there. You've got Spence, who look to be cutting them off as well. So that's the same scenario even for Dauntless, somehow, someway, if they magically make it through, Dave.
Frank the Tank holding back in Milta right now. So Trout and Paul, they're going to be gatekeeping Ace of Spades. I do appreciate Ace of Spades pulling off of that, though. They got their eliminations. Sure, they didn't get the squad wipe, but just leave Dauntless. They're going to be down 2 members. They're going to be hurting right now. And both these teams, 5th and 6th place, they're surely going to qualify here after tonight's matches. So really no point in continuing that ego challenge here. So Ace of Spades making the right call and playing for that late game right now.
Razak's about to get super interesting. We've got multiple teams rotating into School. The zone kind of cuts Razak and School in half. And then iNCO rotating all the way in from Zarky. So things are about to get a bit testy there. Circle, pretty centered up for this this third stage. And we'll watch as these teams all start to come together. Let's see, NRG sees... looks like iNCO on the horizon here as they're driving by, but I've got eyes on this fight, and I'm hoping things kind of pop off on the rotation end. There's only a few, it's like a lot of choke points, essentially, where fights will be forced.
And you do have that waterway that's going to kind of split them up, too. iNCO's going to be on their own little island. Meanwhile, everybody else is going to be on the opposite side. I think iNCO is going to be relatively safe, but NRG's pushing in, and X-Force might be their competition. Meanwhile, XYQ, INFERNO Esports, also in a bit of a tussle as they try to just lock down anything they can. INFERNO Esports trying to climb up the leaderboards. They've got a mountain to climb indeed, right? 39 points back from breaking into top 10. They need a meteoric day. 4 games have to go absolutely perfect, and it starts with this fight, Dave.
Yeah, there's a bunch of fights about to erupt right now. I'm looking at X Factor on that shoreline, that edge that PB was mentioning here, because Ace of Spades now going to be rotating right behind them. X Factor 10th place overall, so a lot to lose. XYQ 14th, like we mentioned. Spec is going to be IGLing. Spec actually the first one eliminated, unfortunately for them here. But I don't really see them making too much moves at that gas station. But popping over here to the X Factor engagement, looks like they were able to successfully push off Ace of Spades, actually. Ace of Spades going deep into the blue for that ultra wide rotate right there.
That's what I want to watch, is that Ace of Spades rotation, because think about iNCO's perspective right now, having been all the way in Zarki, knowing that there is no one behind them. And all of a sudden, Ace of Spades is going to come out of the blue here and surprise iNCO. I'm like hoping that this happens, but we'll keep an eye on it for sure. They are on their way in right now, but School, Rozhok, things getting a bit testy right now. Teams are starting to jockey for that position. We should see the Ace of Spades stuff break out here in about 5 seconds.
It's going to be a big surprise too, PB. Like you said, Reflections, like they're going to have no clue that someone's coming in from the blue.
Well, iNCO is pushing into them, so yeah, iNCO, Ace of Spades about to go down. The cars are out, the players are jumping. Mamby's the first one gone. Blinky as well. Ace of Spades will lose 2 just in a blink of an eye, leaving Versa not only to fight against blue, but also try to just a god nade to connect on the Gary. It goes a bit too deep. The car rolls in. Versa, no wonder he can't survive, and iNCO a flawless win. They take the fight directly to Ace of Spades, but it's not done just yet. Dave, NRG is also moving in.
NRG looking to make some moves happen. They heard the engagement on the edge of the play zone. Papa Blue is going to be damaging iNCO just a little bit. Now NRG trying to play cleanup over here off the tail end of that engagement from Ace of Spades. Looks like iNCO, they're going to be able to get some meds off, but NRG not really allowing them any time to fully heal. Wancho, remember, clocking in for tonight's matches, got the M4, got plenty of ammunition. And NRG right now just kind of circling their prey like sharks.
This is a big fight, Dave.
It is.
NRG is waiting on iNCO right now. They felt like they had a bit of third-party advantage, and that may be the case, but iNCO riding a bit of momentum, getting surprised out of nowhere. Ace of Spades comes out of the blue zone and meets an absolute buzzsaw in iNCO, but while all of this is going down, 0-2 out of the lobby, which opens up a potential jump to first place here from iNCO. If they can keep things going, they're putting points up on the board left and right now.
Wow, big mistakes being made right now for NRG. They got separated in the mix, and iNCO recognizing the separation, just taking the complete squad to isolate those players from NRG who did get separated from the bunch here. And we saw right there, iNCO able to capitalize on that and get a elimination. So I was rooting for NRG there, Reflections, I'm not gonna lie, but it looks like kind of throwing out here, man. Kind of throwing.
Well, they still have 2 players left, and they're kind of in the same situation TGames is in. I was breaking down earlier. You know, NRG, not necessarily safe in the top 10. They need some good games as well. Surviving with 2, going for placement points, maybe some third parties towards the end of the game, which this is going to be a packed-in game without question. I think NRG is making the right decision, disengaging. Meanwhile, INFERNO Esports taking the fight to XYQ. They will win it, and now iNCO is here for the third party. INFERNO Esports has been locking down that tower for quite some time. They haven't been able to break it. They were being gate-kept by XYQ. iNCO, do they decide to do the same? Well, maybe not. Well, actually, yes, they do, and Wancho's going to get the first down. Does iNCO try to push up on this, PB?
I think they do, man. They're riding some momentum right now, but they really got to be careful. The third party coming in from Maryland. Maryland sees them, and it is about to get absolutely crazy right now. You can see him pushing up on that ridge, trying to peek over the top. INFERNO getting absolutely shredded. And I will say about these towers, I feel like you never want to be the first ones in to occupy them from a defensive position. The angles are so hard to hold. Visibility is poor, and I have counted at least 4,000 Molotov victims in my time casting PUBG Mobile from trying to defend these towers, but ultimately, you know, I thought they did a good job getting position. Just a really difficult spot to hold here for INFERNO.
Well, I think this might be it for them. Crushies is just kind of playing with his prey at the moment. Bagal up top, man. Nowhere he can really go, but just pre-fired. That has worked. You go back to Klaus with Dauntless and the Dev Shack granted, I believe, on Miramar, but regardless, for INFERNO Esports, they were that first one, and now it's 4,001 for UPB and for you, Dave. Well, Maryland, my team pushing up, but this is a must-win for Maryland. They need 4 good games tonight to for sure break into top 10, and they've got the utility, they've got the first knock, and Maryland might be able to take down iNCO.
Wow, those scrims paying off right now. They are getting ultra aggressive. They got the knock with the grenade. They're tossing those Molotovs, like PB said, just letting that tower burned down to the ground. Now it's up to 7. The last remaining member for iNCO. 3 grenades gonna be tossing one through the smokes, getting some damage on the board. We got 2 more golden grenades to go, but we'll be swapping to the shotgun, popping out the smokes, looking for that player, taking down Casper, getting the confirmation. But Maryland, they're just letting it all on the battlefield right now, and they're gonna be the victors of the tower in the north. Here comes NRG though for the revenge play over here.
2 players though, only 2 players. I think they're just I thought they were just wanting to be annoying. 24K. What play was that? And now you leave it up to your last remaining player from NRG, and I'm not a fan of that play. What are we doing? Why push in without a plan? You had a chance to survive, maybe get top 3 just with 2 players. It's not flashy, but it's functional. You're a team that needs to solidify yourself in the top 10. Why are we pushing into a full unit, or at least a 3-man of Maryland with no advantage, PB?
As the kids would say, Taylor, these days, they sold, my friend. They sold.
They absolutely did.
Straight in, got shredded. It was not Sigma, my friend, by any means, but they got
lost
crushed.
me on that.
Hey, I will say, iNCO put up, 13 points this game? 0-2 had 0. So they carved that 19-point gap down to 6 points or so. We'll wait for the official numbers to come in, but iNCO, again, I'm gonna fanboy for these guys today. They're going to win that #1 spot. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of them early on.
Without a doubt. Dave, this is a healthy in-game. You've got 5 teams. Only one of them has 3 players, and that's Maryland. Everybody else sitting at a pretty decent amount of eliminations outside of X-Force. I think this is going to be a pretty chaotic and honestly entertaining in-game depending on how it plays out. So I'm just curious who's going to be the linchpin, who's going to be the team to make the first moves.
Not only that, it's a big game for our teams on the cusp, right? X Factor, 10th place coming into this match. TGames, 9th place coming into this match. And Maryland, NA, 11th place. So big match for these teams really trying to fight tooth and nail to qualify to the Premier Finals here come next week. So all these teams going to be putting it all on the line right now, trying not to make any mistake, trying not to overextend, get knocked, get confirmed, because you want to have your complete squad alive here for the final battle. And it looks like X Factor now looking to make the push on the compound with TGames.
All right, it's going down. A lot of damage being outputted. X Factor needs this win. You've got X Factor and Maryland still alive in this end game. Remember, we talked about them being tied. Both of them tied, both of them needing another winner chicken dinner to break that tie or more eliminations. Well, X Factor making it look good on that, taking the fight to TG. 2 players are going to fall. Poppy Triste also out, followed by Sour. Unknown has to try and put in a lot of work here. Jumping out that window might be the play needed. It can take X Factor off guard, and in fact, it's going to take down at least 1 PB.
This is a really, really strong defense the way it started out, but I feel like, getting a little bit wide and outside the compound may not have been the play. Definitely was able to get another point there by taking down that knocked player, but ultimately X Factor able to secure the compound, not without losses though here. They are down to just 2 players, but I will say this is the only compound left in this zone right now. X Factor occupying it, and they are now on the edge as it sits right now. X-Force making a play here to the center of zone, and they've got a nice bit of terrain to work with, some trees for cover. We'll see how that develops, but everyone else starting to edge in from the outside. You can see Becker from Maryland trying to work his way in all the way, into the circle. He's got a ways to go, though, but I'm looking at X-Force right now, as well as X Factor, our X's, to get things done here.
Straight out of Nepal, what's this fight? X Factor has to really put up or shut up in the meantime. High Man will take a lot of damage straight out of Nepal. A flawless win. They keep all 4 members up. They take over that only compound you were talking about, and now are set up quite nicely to finish this game with the winner chicken dinner. You've got 3 new teams left, and I think straight out of Nepal, they're the front runners to take the first win of the day, Dave.
Yeah, we were talking about key players. Blaze has been that key player from straight out of Nepal. We can see 5 eliminations. We saw the P90 crossfire right there to get the final blow onto X Factor. And now next zone goes up. They're going to be right there on the edge. Frankie in a bush behind a tree playing that rat roll here. Going to be looking at Maryland NA. relaying that intel back to his squad mates. Looks like we're gonna have Wolf try to group up here in preparation to possibly take out Maryland up in the north.
You know, another massive storyline that's developing right now, obviously straight out of Nepal, getting it done at the compound here, picking up their player, trying to get rid of this 3-1 split. But we got to take a peek at Maryland NA right now. We see Becker going down and finish from X-Force, but they're still in it. Remember, X Factor and Maryland NA came into this final day of our qualifiers tied for the final spot to go on to the finals, and X Factor had a big game. They go out in 4th place. They picked up a 8 elim, so a massive game from them, but Maryland still in it and still able to make things happen right now. They're down to just 2 players, but getting another placement point here, getting another elim, it is everything for these guys.
That is, they just have to match the energy, right? Match the energy or exceed it from X Factor. At this point, they just kind of want to match it, and they can do that. They'll be okay. Again, like you mentioned, that tie, it's important. Straight out of Nepal, they fought hard for this compound, and now they're fighting hard against X-Force, the utility, man, just wreaking havoc. Aleem, the man who almost pulled off a 1v3 last week, the first victim for X-Force this week, and straight out of Nepal isn't done yet. They've got more nades, and they're not afraid to use them.
Wow, we got horses in esports now. X-Force are like, hey, we got the red zone in esports here this week. I mean, heck, how many grenades was that? At least 10 grenades, and they're not done chucking them. Yeah, we're still tossing them in that bowl over there. X-Force in a really challenging position, especially with 2 players from Maryland right there on the hilltops also throwing grenades. Wow. I do not see X-Force making it out of here alive.
Did you guys see that park job by straight out of Nepal?
Yeah, I did, right?
That was incredible.
I don't know how they did that, man. It's pros, wacky and wild. And I'm actually curious, was it intentional? What's the functionality behind it? Are they just saving it for later? Are they going to just dive bomb into a player who tries to go over? I don't know. I mean, anything can happen. But for X-Force, I almost feel bad for them, PB. I mean, they're getting put into the blender. The amount of nades that they had to sustain. And miraculously, they're still alive, which I can't believe. But that's just how some of these end games go.
That is the way it goes sometimes. You see Free Point down there from X-Force. They're trying to get the finish. Free Point, a stud of a player, was with Team Raid here recently and, again, led that team and almost the PMSLs in elim. So Free Point is not a guy that you want on his knees at this point in time. They're going to try to pick him up, but it might be too little too late here. Straight out of Nepal, putting out the pressure. And, Kvik almost taken down as well. Another nade may get it done, and it does. X-Force starting to dwindle here as this game comes to a close.
They blew off his pants with all the grenades out here. We saw right there. The dude's missing his jeans.
Shoes flying everywhere.
Shoes flying everywhere. So it's up to Bebe, the last one alive right now for X-Force. And we got Blaze over here. Had 5 grenades down to just 1. So Maryland trying to do their best as well to avoid the splash damage. Got Toyota in the Bentley. I do appreciate this, though. I mean, game 1, Maryland, they needed the points. They were in 11th place overall. They're still surviving. They got the 5 eliminations. They have the chance of possibly getting the winner chicken dinner, but this is looking like a straight on Nepal game, though. I mean, they got all the cards stacked in their favor right now, and they got the intel as well. The only player they might not be aware of is Bebe behind this boulder.
Taylor, how can they even find Bebe? He's so far away from the battlegrounds, and he has cover, and he has the zone right now. So this is looking really bad for Maryland right now, unless they can flush out Bebe. There's also, straight out of Nepal, they need to take down the flank player here to give themselves an angle, the ability to push back a little bit. But, man, straight out of Nepal, really, really dominant position here.
Yeah, and their spread is really impressive. I mean, they're covering all angles. Even if Bebe or Maryland decides to do a sneak attack, I think straight out of Nepal is going to be able to clear it. I do. I think they're just a little bit too strong now. Mind you, this could be their second ever winner chicken dinner, and one of their highest scoring games, currently sitting at 9 elims. Very impressive for straight out of Nepal, a team that has been getting better and better each and every week. And as this zone starts to collapse in, Maryland has no choice but to push forward. Do they do it on foot? Do they do it in vehicles? Well, they're going to try and utilize this terrain as best as possible. I mean, that's pretty much their only option. Getting a second place here would be massive. So X-Force, they're hoping they drop. They're praying because, again, they've got to match that points from X Factor. Baby taking the vehicle, I thought he was going to full commit, but there's just no reason. You're just going to die. I mean, straight out of Nepal, there's no reason. There's no way to beat him. Bebe, I think it's about to be Maryland's curse at this point.
They got zone here, and X-Force really far out of the circle right now, so they've got to move, and as long as Maryland not immediately eliminated by straight out of Nepal, this should be enough to clinch that second place, and that ultimately has to be their goal right now. It has to be getting that extra placement point at number 2. Toyota not hearing my pleading with them to just play it safe, and just like that backstab from behind by Bebe, he's going to get the second place for X-Force. They really needed this as well, sitting in 12th place, and it's going to be straight out of Nepal coming in with a 4v1 smackdown. And just like we talked about in the pregame, Taylor, straight out of Nepal has a real shot to challenge for the top of this table if they can start putting together the winner chicken dinners, and they've done that here today in game 1.
Yeah, they can at least break into top 3. And a matter of fact, I think they did so, might even overtaking Farvoice Gaming. That was a big game from them, straight out of Nepal. As a roster that we discussed in the beginning. Blaze is an incredible player. And look, man, coming out with 11 elims, game 1 is huge. Plus a win, that's a 21-point game, Dave.
Yeah, and our boy Blaze out here with 5 of those eliminations, 1,217 damage done. So the entire squad just showing up here using 27 frag grenades, by the way. The team behind them had 13 used. So talk about utility, and it goes back to that mini red zone that we saw from that squad from the rooftops, right? I mean, we were making a joke about it, but they were just tossing out the utility, and that really put a stop to any potential that X-Force had this game to get that winner chicken dinner.
And X-Force, just like Maryland and X-Factor, a team that could realistically break into top 10. They started the day 20 points behind. So staying alive as long as they did, and, finishing in second place, albeit with just 3 eliminations, it's not really, it's not exceeding Maryland or X-Factor. But you've got 3 teams who are 11th, 12th, and 10th place, PB, who had a great game number 1, which makes me excited for the next 3.
Absolutely. We saw some really good volatility on the top of the table with 0-2 going out early with no elims. And then the team right behind them, iNCO, they threw down a ton of elims. They went out fairly early as well, but they closed a major gap there. So we're going to see challenges at the top of the table, along with straight out of Nepal, kind of getting that victory along with some elims there to climb up. And Dave, to your point, I think I saw like 15 nades in that little mini red zone by itself. So that's where the large majority of those came from. But focusing on the cutoff, right? That 10th place spot. Top 10 need to be able to go on to that next stage, and 11 and 12, they're breathing down their neck. So we'll catch those standings here shortly. But man, I'm excited to watch the X's, X Factor, X Force, and maybe even XYQ, challenge for that that cutoff spot, and then Maryland try to get in there as well. Good game 1 here from Maryland.
Yeah, great game number 1 from Maryland. And, a better game needed for NRG. I don't know what that push was. Again, going back to it, you have 2 players alive. You live, and then you force it into Maryland, and you give up your life, and you give up your chance of getting a better placing. 2 players. That's all Maryland had. And, they finished in 3rd place, right? NRG could have done the same exact thing. It's just a little bit too much. You got to be serious here, and you got to really give it your all. For NRG, a team that, again, is on the cusp. They're only in 9th place. You've got X-Factor, Maryland, X-Force, who had a decent game number 1. NRG could very well break outside of top 10 and be forced to play against those hungry and passionate challenger teams in a challenger finals. There could be a real chance we do not see NRG Galaxy competing in the Premier Finals, and that would be a shock to some. But I mean, you look at that push, wild and reckless as it was, it makes some more sense. From game 1, we've talked a lot about the top and 0-2, right? Just couldn't get it together. 0-2, man. Dave, we've watched them. They're a consistent team, but there are some times that they just kind of drop the ball, and I don't know why.
No, I agree with that, but I mean, 0-2, end of the day, they're big chilling today. I mean, they're coasting. They already qualified. The only objective here is to finish in top 10 and then really pull it together come the Premier Finals. So, of course, you would want to see a team who has been consistently in that first place end in first place. But at the end of the day, like, it doesn't really matter if you end in 1st or 10th place on the end of tonight's matches. So 0-2, what I really want to see from them here tonight is maybe experiment with some plays, put them outside of their comfort zone almost. That way they could be better prepared for the lobby to come here, Reflections.
All right, iNCO Gaming, you pointed that out, PB, 13 points. That is a great game, especially 13 to finish in 8th place. That is excellent. They were slaying out. I look forward to their next 3 games, but Straight Outta Nepal stole the show with 21 points to start off the day. That's 2 winner chicken dinners for them across the 6 total tournament days played for the Titan Series Season 6. Good on them. And again, X-Force, Maryland, X-Factor all fighting tooth and nail to break in. We look at the overall, PP. What are we looking at? What's switched up?
Oh man, iNCO gaining on 0-2 as we kind of predicted. Straight Outta Nepal has jumped over Farvoice Gaming. Everything else kind of chilling on this first page. Not a whole lot of shakeups here, but everyone kind of in striking distance. And I will say, while every one of these guys at the top of the table, they will be moving on, obviously, to our Premier Finals. The bonus points are so huge. That gives them such an advantage, right? If you're able to go into the day with 10 bonus points, that's basically a free chicken dinner to start the day. So you know 0-2 is going to be trying to latch on to those points and to that position as much as possible. But I'm liking the challenge that I'm seeing out of iNCO as well as Straight Outta Nepal so far. But very curious to see what the cutoff has done here around 10th place. As again, X-Factor and Maryland came in tied on the standings today, and it all comes down to this.
Let's take a look at it, Dave. Right, 9th down to 16th. NRG X-Factor Maryland. That'll be 9th, 10th, and 11th. Maryland still 2 points behind X-Factor.
Yeah, so just a reminder, tiebreakers, because we might have one, it is decided by chicken dinners. Then after that, total eliminations. And after that, if need be, placement points. So as of right now, X-Factor still going to be in the lead because of their eliminations. Say we do end in game number 4 with the tiebreaker, but very close between those two. X-Factor doing just enough to maintain that lead, but Maryland NA starting the night strong here. Reflections. I'm starting to see what you've been talking about these scrims. All right, because that tower play.
Hey.
That was a good play. I'm not gonna lie. I know last week I was hating on them, but that play was good on their part here.
Practice makes perfect. Okay, practice.
Taylor, I want to
makes
ask you
perfect.
something.
Please.
Before we head out, I got to ask you. NRG, you highlighted that play.
Yeah,
you weren't a fan of it, obviously. How worried do they need to be? They're only 6 points ahead of 10th, and Maryland's gaining ground on them as well. So X-Factor and Maryland coming out banging on game 1, and then NRG had that performance. Should they be worried?
Yeah, I was going to point that out, and I was kind of like weighing in my mind, do I really want to sound the alarm bells? Because you know me, I kind of like, I'm all gloom and doom at times, but I was looking at that, and I'm thinking to myself, it's not a lot of points, 8 points away from Maryland, right? That's very doable. One game, NRG continues to play reckless. The way that they're playing, at least in my opinion, is as if they're already top 3, right? They can get loose, they can have fun. They're not. They're very well a team that could be going to Challenger Finals. I'm worried for them, I really am. NRG Galaxy. 2 players, you stay alive, you go for your placement points. Let's smarten up. You're a better team than what you just did in that play against Maryland, and you gave points to the enemy. You gave points to one of the only teams that could derail your whole game plan, derail your whole 6 days of competition, and move you outside of top 10. NRG Galaxy, I'm looking at you to step it up when it comes to top 3. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, map 2 coming your way. back, everyone, to the Titan Series Season 6 Premier Division Week 3, the final day of qualifiers before we know our top 10 teams heading into the Premier Finals. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, joined by Mustache Dave and Powerbank. Game number 2 is hot and ready to go. We're heading into Miramar, a map where XYQ dominated just last week. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, 7 eliminations. TGames also there, but X-Force, the interesting one who gets third place with 7 elims, and X-Force is a team that is looking to break into top 10, currently 20 points away. But as we headed into break, we talked about that narrative. NRG Galaxy, are they in trouble? Hey, I think so. Much like X Factor could very well be too. There's only 8 points separating 9th through 11th place. That can easily be cleared in just one game. Nobody, I would say, from 7th place to 11th place is safe. You gotta break into top 10 or else you're playing against those challenger teams in challenger finals on December 9th. That is not a spot where I would want to be. But let's get into it. Map number 2, let's see what's about to unfold. Dave, what are we looking at?
Yeah, and you know me, Momentum Mustache Dave, all right? Is what they call me. You know, my friends call me that, so feel free, both of you, call me that if you want. But okay. Looking at game number 1, iNCO, they got that momentum. Sure, they didn't get the winner chicken dinner, but they walked away with 12 eliminations, and they had a bunch of really solid team fights. And going back to like the storyline that you were setting up here, NRG, they're going to be dropping right next to iNCO. And if NRG have another flop this game, that is going to open this whole thing up when it comes to those leaderboards and them potentially not qualifying here, fellas.
This is where we separate the contenders from the pretenders. This game right here will tell us, because we are here gathered on PUBG Mobile's greatest esports map. That's right, it's Miramar. It is a fact, and I'm excited to see what breaks out here. Will it be early fighting? We've got multiple teams staring each other down. We've got, Picado going off, San Martin going off. We saw up north near Oasis kind of popping off a little bit. We'll see if teams want to disengage or if they're going to fight, but all eyes on NRG, on X Factor, and on Maryland right now, as it is time for them to put up or shut up. Last point, Taylor, I will say, X-Force, this is like their map, right? They need to do something here to get themselves in range. So I'm watching X-Force big time here on Miramar.
Yeah, X-Force is going to be kind of a highlight. Curious how well they're going to do. And X-Force might have a bit of a fight with Dauntless sooner rather than later, and X-Force is a bit split. And Dauntless, well, they're all together. There's a good chance Dauntless could, I don't know, force a 4v1 2 times, maybe actually all 4 times. I mean, look at that split from X-Force. I know you at home can't necessarily see it, but it's pretty wide, and Dauntless can absolutely punish them. Meanwhile, 0-2, they're getting the party started early on onto Shining Legacy, the team who is in 16th place. They're so far behind, 55 points before they break into top 10, and well, even more now is, unfortunately, they're going to lose 3 members, 0-2, starting off better. They've already got more points this game than the entirety of game number 1, Dave.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we saw right there, too, one of the players from 0-2 in the backseat of the buggy with the Mini take out a Shining Legacy player in the parachute as well to kickstart game number 2. Oh, no. Okay, going back over here, though. TGames, they were just burning up. So this was that fight we were checking out moments ago. Does look like Farvoice Gaming finally hitting that switch to start this engagement here. Should be able to get the pickup onto Unknown. Silence still going to be across the road with the Uzi. Going to be getting caught in the open right there from Baton.
That's impressive shooting. That was crazy to wait that long. He was halfway across that gap. Probably thought, "Ooh, I'm safe." Nope. Uzi from range taking him down. That was really, really impressive from TGames.
That was one of the things Metalcore was so impressed with. Over the past couple of weeks he was casting, he was like, man, just the trigger control that these players have is truly spectacular. And really, he was blown away at how good these guys are at controlling it. And more importantly, he was so impressed with the utility. He was like, I can't believe how much utility is used. And we talked about that red zone, right? Last map on Erangel. It's just, there's so much. It's a totally different world. And Metalcore had a chance to really see that, right, from his pub play over towards esports. Going back to that initial fight, though, Shining Legacy has been lost, Farvoice as well. And I believe TGames and Farvoice have fought now 2 weeks in a row at that very spot off the initial. And I could give you the history of who has won, but arguably this is a more important day, right, being the final day. And Farvoice getting eliminated this early on has to hurt. Granted, they're in 4th place. They're safe in top 10, but I look at those two teams, TGames and Farvoice, on Miramar going into Premier Finals. I'm sure that's not going to be the final time we see that engagement.
No, I mean, this is tough for Farvoice now. 2 really off games in a row. And, you know, they were sitting in 3rd place coming into today, and that's good for a handful of bonus points. And with all of the teams right behind them on the standings now, there's a world where they could drop 5, 6, 7 spots potentially today while still qualifying. They'll get through to the finals in all likelihood. But man, this is not the way they were hoping to start things out as we take our attention here to iNCO up in that northwestern part of the map. They're already in the blue zone. Thankfully, Miramar blue zones are pretty soft here for the first couple of circles, so no big deal there. But as they rotate in, they're going to have to go by either NRG or Dauntless. One of those two teams will be kind of paid a visit here in all likelihood from iNCO, and I'm curious to see if any fighting breaks out on the rotate.
Right. Well, things right now are going to, like you said, slow down. I am surprised we've already lost 2 teams. I would say that's not really common compared to the last couple of Miramars we've had on broadcast, but that's the way the cookie crumbled, at least as of yet. As far as the storylines goes, you know, all the storylines still intact very much. So Maryland, I'm feeling they're going to have a good game. I like their positioning on the dead zone map at the moment. I think they're going to play relatively cautious. I don't think they're going to be as aggressive as they were in the last game, maybe towards the end, but I think Maryland understands the positioning they're currently in. They don't want to risk as much, or at least risk as little as possible. I mean, after all, this is a team that needs to break into, they're just so close to breaking into top 10. So I'll be curious how that ends up working out. Now for XYQ, straight out of Nepal, I mean, they're right next to each other. This fight could be breaking out pretty soon.
Yeah, XYQ calling in the big guns as well. ABC is going to be Spec IGLing. Spec was the first player eliminated last game. Valak is going to be just roaming free. Guns a-blazing here tonight. So takes off a lot of pressure when you are the IGL and you just kind of turn into a gunner essentially. Click and shoot, right? Going back to basic instincts here. So XYQ calling in the big guns, going for that Hail Mary here tonight as they came into tonight's matches 14th place overall here. Right now they are 40 points behind X Factor for that top 10 position. So 3 more games to go. They got a lot of catching up to be had here, but they were looking to change it up here on the final night to try to qualify. And it does look like they were able to leapfrog past straight out of Nepal here. The only issue is they are getting somewhat separated, a little comfortable here on their approach to Las Leonas. So I would hate for XYQ to get so split apart that straight out of Nepal recognize this and just isolate the fights and take them out one by one. So we'll have to pay attention, because if that does happen to XYQ in game number 2, I don't really see them qualifying here. That's going to be back-to-back games where they just didn't really accomplish much. So there's a lot riding on this game for that team in particular.
Man, that's a horrible hard shift on this zone, going all the way back north to Picado and Power Grid. All of the teams seemingly rotating into Los Leones, which normally is a very, very safe bet, safe rotation. But with the hard shift right now, everyone that took up that early position, I'm looking at XYQ, I'm looking at INFERNO Esports, I'm looking at Golden Eagles, and even Ace Esports. Man, they are in a bad way right now, because they've all got to rotate through each other, and there's minimal solid area for them to actually try to occupy. There's the ridge between Power Grid and Picado. There is Picado itself, probably can handle 2 teams there. And then there's Power Grid. Other than that, everyone else is fighting out in the open, so I think things are about to get pretty hairy, Taylor.
Yeah, I firmly believe it's because I said Maryland was in a great spot, and I feel very good about their game. And it went as far away as humanly possible from Maryland, who now has to rotate 10 miles up north. But that's
for
just
10
the way
teams.
For 10 teams, you know, that's just the way it goes, though. And it is what it is. You know, I mean, after all, it's not easy to make it through Titan Series. You want to be the best. Well, you've got to work through these difficult zones, difficult scenarios. We'll see how well they do. But yeah, I'm curious how this rotation is going to pan out. I mean, I think we're about to have maybe some fights potentially. Golden Eagles, X4 or X Factor, excuse me. They're relatively close to each other. NRG, I thought was going to go against TGames, but it might be 0-2 versus TGames. They're setting up for a bit of a skirmish, at least in the meantime. Once things start to settle down, you got a lot of fights, Dave. For me, I think are setting up quite nicely for some big engagements.
Yeah, Maryland really going to have to do some proper scouting, make sure not to get caught out there in the distance, as they are going to be rotating long around Los Leones. So they might actually go around Chumacera at this point. So we'll keep tabs on that squad in particular, just because they are fighting to qualify here. This is their night to qualify. 0-2 over here, still alive as a 4-man team. They have the entirety of the squad up, but they're right between TGames to the north and X-Force to the south on the high ground here. So X-Force, they were as dead center as you can get with their 3-1 split, leaving Bebe behind, who is now going to have to defend their position up against the entirety of the Golden Eagles. So X-Force, once again, they need to make a call. Do they play together or do they play with their split here? Because if they do, Bebe might just be going to their grave a little earlier here on game number 2.
Maryland, ace of spades. I think Maryland might be running into him, actually. It's one that I want to keep a close eye on eventually. The reason why is obviously Maryland's so close. X-Force, though, just as much of a narrative with Golden Eagles just below him. Bebe, he's going to be an absolute nuisance. I love this high ground from him. I do. Not really easy to push into him as well. I say
there
that.
We go. You got a buggy.
We're just scaling him down.
Got spikes on the tires. It's going to be able to climb. No big deal.
That was epic. That was perfect timing too. Free point. But regardless, Bebe and X-Force, they're on the same roster. Golden Eagles, they're going to bleed a bit. Frady is down, and X-Force is putting a hurt into him, at least at the meantime. For Golden Eagles, it's like, where can you really go? You're kind of pinned. This high ground is so deadly, and even for 0-2, right? They're feeling a bit of that pressure, PB.
They absolutely are, and I gotta say, Free Point here is a magician with this mini. But man, talk about like angles. He's got the whole battleground in front of him that he can shoot at. There's so many teams piling up. No real fights have popped off yet, which I'm absolutely shocked by. There are so many teams in the safe zone right now, starting to pop off finally between XYQ and Straight Outta Nepal, which we kind of forecasted may happen earlier, but finally things starting to pop off a bit. But this is going to be a very, very interesting zone. The circle's centered up on that ravine, kind of between Power Grid and Picado, and I will say, this is a nightmare for players to try to play and secure position, but it's a delight to watch as an audience member. So the viewers are going to have some fun as Trick gets taken down by a nade that's completely on point.
Big Blaze out here, big showing up. Here comes ABC trying to get the pickup onto Trick. Now Papa Blue will be applying some damage. Blaze with the UMP getting another one, but traded out immediately. So I'm looking for the support from Straight Outta Nepal. Where are the teammates here? We got a couple squad mates in the front lines trying to send it with some vehicles, but Wolf in the back with the M4. Popping over here to Spence, got the DBS. Got the grenade, gonna let that one cook just a little too much. Trick is still bleeding out though. We'll have a smoke on the battlefield right now to provide some cover to allow the pickup just in time. But here comes another grenade bouncing right past ABC. And once again, just not cooked enough here, fellas.
Yeah, it's highly unfortunate for Straight Outta Nepal, man, because XYQ's been able to recover. They've been able to get their teammates back into play, and therefore have a better chance at fighting against Straight Outta Nepal. Granted, both fighting against Blue Zone, it can't be comfortable, and XYQ might choose to disengage, but then again, it's like Straight Outta Nepal, their numbers are dwindling. You know they're going to be low on health. As long as you can just continue to dodge nades, you're going to be just fine. And while Inferno also decides to fall, SLR will take them down. NRG will drop Foops as well. You mentioned, PP, how quiet it was. You were shocked no fights were breaking out. Well, now they're all breaking out, and 0-2 is gone.
Well, was a matter of time. They had to break out at some point here. The zone continues to go southwest. Teams are on the move. You could see the disengagement there from XYQ. They'd had enough of straight out of Nepal. They are going to leave as we take a peek at the map. I had a feeling these compounds in the southwest of the zone, they're not ones that you would normally target, but given that there's very little hard cover in this circle, I was wondering which teams would actually go try to take those up. It looks like it's Ace of Spades right now. They've got a 2-2 split, SLR on the ropes, and just like that, SLR has been eliminated. Now we'll see Ace of Spades regroup, and they've got a really solid position here as the mountains are sure to be packed. There's still 12 teams alive in this small circle.
Ace of Spades looking good. I'm liking their 2-2 split. They got a nice foothold within the play zone, and they're keeping 2 in the back lines to make sure nobody backstabs them here. So Ace of Spades, big brain plays out here. Going back to that XYQ, Trick did get separated on the push out, and looks like XYQ getting somewhat separated with X-Force between them and the Golden Eagle. So I'm still paying attention to the feed because, like I said, if XYQ, if they get eliminated here this game with another single point come up on the overall leaderboards, well, I think it's going to be near impossible, and we will most likely be seeing them in the Challenger Finals. So XYQ, best of luck here on game number 2.
Right.
I like the position here, Taylor, of X-Force on the top here. They just have to be careful not to get picked, like is about to happen right now. They are able to stay up there. It's weird seeing hypercars climbing mountains. I will say that. The off-roading is always a bit strange to my eye, but I'll take it. XYQ, cloudy, able to secure a position up here, but it is going to have some neighbors for sure. But back to X-Force, they have this high ground, and as long as they don't get picked from all of the teams down below, that should buy them time to get into the top 5-6 teams or so and pick up some points, and they need it here.
Yeah, they definitely do. They were 20 points away from breaking into top 10. They need a rally, and they need to rally hard. The fact that they're getting started this early, they still got 4 members alive. They've been hitting great shots with good positioning. X-Force can make a big dent in those 20 points and make it super competitive, not only to break into top 10, but knocking teams such as NRG, X Factor, Maryland right out of that running, out of the race. A team that started so far behind, but can make good on their run. For Dauntless, very safe when it comes to their positioning as a whole. 4 players alive, and Coops is dangerously close to TG, who's just on the opposite side. And meanwhile, you also got to worry about NRG off in the distance, potentially firing some pop shots. And I'm curious, while Coops and Klaus has so much distance between Rose and the remaining player, it's like you've got Dauntless so spread out and so thin. They're relatively safe, but safety can quickly turn into turmoil very quickly, depending if a team decides to push up on you, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we've seen both these players 1v4 multiple teams in the past. I mean, they got the pedigree here. Is that what they want to do here? No, I think they're just holding down some terrain here, and eventually they're going to make the call to group up on one of the positions. So Coops right there on the edge within grenade range, just listening on and seeing if they can spot any intel on TGames, and Klaus now going to have to make the move here. Already taking some pot shots onto Maryland, and now we see XP3 and Rose start to group up here. So only a matter of time before Dauntless start to get some points on the board here in game number 2. But talking about getting points, NRG, we were talking about them on the break. We were getting a little concerned with their game 1 performance because they are not safe, right? This is a team that can easily get bumped out here today. Looking at NRG, 4 eliminations in the pocket so far. They are going to be making the pull up and going back, tying this back in with Coops. Now Coops going to be pretty much caught by themselves trying to defend while his squad mates pull up for the support. And we're going to see NRG pull back just a little bit here. So we got 3 squads in the area right now competing for a sliver of the north.
It's pretty crazy, the trust that Dauntless has in both Klaus and Coops, like you guys mentioned, both kind of establishing beachheads up ahead of the squad. But you saw right there the off angle that those other Dauntless players had. They were able to support Coops from 150 meters away, probably. but it was enough for Coops to kind of gain some ground, force a retreat, and ultimately all these teams need to move. So it's not like anybody really wants to fight here. They all have to get south into that circle, and it is about to be a disaster up top. NRG coming together with them as well. TGames joining the fight, and XYZ just trying to hold on right now to support his teammate. NRG needs this, but their first player has gone down.
NRG might be running into trouble. Running into trouble indeed. NRG has to make a decision. Almost the same decision that they had just in the last game. Do they leave or do they stay where they're currently at? I think they don't really have a choice because TG has applied the pressure so well. The nades, as we know, so deadly, and TG hurting NRG, but NRG refusing to back away. But really, is it like you worry about TG or do you worry about Dauntless? Because now Dauntless chooses to come in for the third party. You got a third party on a third party, and I start to worry. NRG, you can get away in the meantime. I think they back away. Dave, is that realistic?
It's a party out here, right? You got XPX tossing grenades at TG. You got TG tossing grenades at Dauntless. Then Dauntless tossing grenades at NRG. It's just a complete cycle out here. So Klaus on the high ground with the suppressed M4, trying to take some shots, trying to get some eliminations beneath them. Dauntless, in the better position with the high ground here, in my opinion. And there goes our squad. TG down and out. NRG on the hit list. Coming up next for Dauntless. So far, Dauntless 3 eliminations in the pocket, and they're not done yet. We still got one more point right beneath this hillside.
Oh, they're going to get it too. Dauntless is going to clean up the top part of this zone. It looks like NRG is next on the hit list right now. Coops pushing the team in. Really impressive play as they do get that nade elim to finish up the upper part of this zone. But taking a peek at the circle, it goes center right now. The fight I'm looking at is iNCO versus Ace of Spades again for the second map in a row. They are eyeballing each other on the bottom. There is one compound in play between them. Currently, Ace of Spades occupies it. Will iNCO crash onto this this compound is my question. This is a big fight brewing right now. Both teams jockeyed for this position early on, and it has paid off. Whoever wins that fight's going to own about half of the zone and be in one of the only spots that has hard cover. So this is kind of my front runners for winning this match.
And let's not forget, iNCO started this match, map number 2, 6 points away from 0-2. 0-2 have been eliminated. They're gone. They're not going to get any placement points. The only thing they get is 4 eliminations, which, hats off to them. But iNCO can clear that, especially with the chaos that Miramar brings in these end games. So iNCO has a very real chance to dethrone 0-2 for the first time in Titan Series Season 6. Remove them from first place. It's yet to happen, but it might very well happen here. And for Ace of Spades, great pop shots off in the distance. And let's not forget, X Factor and X-Force also going down. X-Force trying to keep Maryland at bay. They had 3 eliminations. Now it seems as if that's where they might stop, and that opens up the door for potentially Maryland to gain ground onto them. We talked about that tie. They started this game only 2 points away from catching up. So you got Maryland, who might catch up to X-Force. You've got iNCO, who might dethrone 0-2. There's a lot at stake in this map number 2 for today, Dave.
The Golden Eagles, they're doing something. They are doing something, but probably not for long here, fellas, because now we got Dauntless just steamrolling the north right now. Going to be pulling up right, but hello, same team? No, I don't think so. I'm surprised we weren't taking shots. Yeah, what was that? We weren't taking shots at that. I guess because he was going underneath 5 miles per hour. You know, we thought he was a friendly, but Golden Eagles out here, they were trying to get aggressive, trying to flush out X-Force, but it does look like Dauntless taking advantage of this one, third party in it, and Dauntless just in the snap of a finger went from no eliminations to 7 eliminations.
Tough break there for Freepoint getting knocked out of the buggy. Just like that, it is X-Force out of the lobby. They'll collect 4 points here, 1 for the rank, and they did pick up 3 elims here sitting on top of that perch, but the zone did move away from them, unfortunately, but it's Dauntless on a roll right now. iNCO has survived so far, but has 0 elims, and they just now are starting to pop off with Ace. They just picked up their first. And they are starting to heat up a little bit here, but this is where it's going to get interesting. We've got 5 teams left in the lobby that have a decent amount of players up, and it's anyone's match at this point.
It is Dauntless, Golden Eagles to the backside. They're going to have to watch them. You mentioned Ace of Spades, iNCO. That's still relatively close to concluding. Ace of Spades has lost a player, but iNCO Gaming also has lost, so that's going to be a 3v3. Meanwhile, let's not wait. Let's go ahead and get into it. Mambe is pushing up aggressively. Wancho, he's going to find the bad end of Nade, and that gives more confidence to Ace of Spades to continue to push up. Gary also gone. Wancho fully finished off. Golden Eagles are eliminated, and I fear iNCO as well. And just like that, we're up to our top 4. You got Maryland, X Factor, Dauntless, and Ace of Spades. Dauntless with a massive game so far. 9 total eliminations. They're going for the winner chicken dinner. But also Maryland, right? It's a real chance to gain some heavy ground onto NRG, who's just above them on the leaderboard, but they've got to get to work. They're sitting at 0 eliminations. Placement points is not going to be enough, Dave.
Placement points not enough, but that was such a huge confidence booster right there for Ace of Spades. Sure, they're top 10, but remember, these top teams are looking for those bonus points. But to be able to just square up with probably one of the strongest teams in the lobby, iNCO Gaming, and win that engagement, Ace of Spades should be feeling pretty good right about now. But popping back over here to the north, Maryland, they got Casper on the off angle. Homie's going to be tagged and bagged right now. Klaus going to be letting it rip onto Baby Tang. Right behind the US, it's going to be smoking, but Baby Tang's got that bush for cover.
Hey, baby, it's a top 4 situation, and we've got both Maryland and X Factor still alive again. So this is 2 straight games that the teams on the verge of being sent to the Challenger Finals have made it to the top 4. So I really like what I'm seeing from both of them. Granted, they don't have a ton of elims right now. Maryland at least has 0. They are going to have an opportunity right now to pick some up, but they're going to have to go through Coops, and they do. They get him down, and Maryland starting to pick up a bit of momentum here as Dauntless has multiple bodies on the floor. It's all up to one player now. It's Klaus coming in as the anchor. Can he get it done? Maryland, a buzzsaw right now, and they will persevere.
Huge. That's massive because now they're tied with X Factor again, matching that energy. And it could be Maryland overtaking X Factor on the leaderboard, depending on how this final 3 fights end up unfolding. Now, X Factor does have the advantage with 1 player, but Ace of Spades is on the hunt net, and they're looking to mow down X Factor. And in fact, it's going to be the opposite. Blinky will be the first one to fall. Meanwhile, you got Maryland on the opposite side. Ace of Spades, I go from complimenting them, and I think they might be in a very difficult spot here, PB.
It's tough to say right now. This is like a good old, the Mexican standoff, right? Everybody's got a pistol pointed at one another in a triangle formation right now. That's what's going on. Maryland, though, lobbing the nades in. They really have to focus on Ace of Spades right now. Take the third-party opportunity. They do. Mambe goes down on the flank right now, and Kiddo has got to pick him up. The nades are going to be trouble. Is that good? It is!
So close. Kiddo getting chunked down right there. I'm looking for the follow-up, though. Becker, with the grenade in hand, is going to be chucking that right there. Looks like Kiddo going to be pulling off the revive. Not successful. Maryland, they got some hills to work with. They got some cover. They got 5 eliminations. Does look like X Factor. They were getting a little aggressive, trying to flush out Ace of Spades. But like you said, that 3-way standoff did force X Factor to pump the brakes just a little bit. They recognize the importance of getting this winner chicken dinner.
Oh,
look
man,
at this little pocket table. That's crazy.
It doesn't help, though. Ace of Spades gone, and now it's X Factor versus Maryland. Arguably one of the most impactful winner chicken dinners of the tournament to potentially decide who's going to be in top 10. In fact, who will be 10th place and who will be 11th. Both of these teams desperately need this win. And poetically, it's also a 3v3. You can't really tell who has the advantage here. Both rosters need to fight and need to play this out perfectly. Dave, I'm loving this storyline. Again, both of the teams, they see the pressure. You can tell neither one is wanting to risk their lives.
This is the matchup we wanted. This is the matchup both these teams needed to happen here. Winner, chicken dinner on the line. Both teams have 3 squad mates up. They know exactly where each other are. They are locked in. Malaz with the MG3 has some vehicles to work with, but he's got the squad wiper. He's got the level 3 vest, 2 grenades in hand, hitting those meds, going for that last top up here. Baby Tang 2 grenades as well. We're already starting to see Toyota crawl up just a little bit with their 1 grenade, trying to get some intel here. It is stage 9, so it just straight up centers up from here, fellas. There is no more zones. Becker was able to toss the smoke to be able to get onto this rooftop. Got the 3 times M4. We'll have to see. It all comes down to this. Looks like X Factor going to start to chuck some grenades in these smokes that Maryland were tossing out a little earlier on. Toyota, it's getting spicy though. Toyota's dodging, weaving. Here comes Baby Tang with the support. Toyota with the Molotov, but Becker from the rooftop of the shack was knocked out. So that is going to initiate this final push from X Factor. Toyota down as well.
But it's going to be a 1v2. Maryland, 1 player left. Do you stick to res? Do you fight it out? Well, Malaz is pushing up. He's going for blood. He's going to get at least 1 finish. Baby Tang's on his feet, though. So is Becker. Malaz thinks he might be running into a single player, but in fact, he's going to be running into 2. And in fact, Becker's got his health back up. Utility out. Baby Tang to overexpose himself. He ends up paying the price. Becker cooks a nade. Doesn't connect. No, it does not. But even still, it looks to be a 1v1. Malaz versus Becker. Nade doesn't connect. Malaz has to dip to the right. Ooh. He takes a ton of damage, and Baby Tang hits the final shot, and Maryland gets the win that was needed, and they break into top 10.
That was absolutely incredible. You fellas killed it on the call. So much on the line in that final head-to-head map-up. An opportunity for a 7-point swing. You had 3 players up from each side and an opportunity to get the chicken dinner, which is 10 points on top of 6 for second, right? Another 4 points there in differential. And ultimately some trades happened, so not the full 7 happening. Oh my goodness, so crazy. But that was the matchup that we all wanted. It was the 2 teams at the cutoff line, tied coming into today, both with an amazing performance in game number 1, and now a backup, amazing performance in game number 2, and it comes down to a 3-on-3 head-to-head where it goes back and forth. Ultimately, Maryland coming out on top. That was absolutely insane.
It was beautiful. Dave, that ending is exactly what we needed. Now, the reality is it puts Maryland in the top 10. It doesn't mean they're safe, though. We obviously know that win only really matters if it ends up in a tie, but at least in the meantime, they do overtake X Factor. I'm saying all this, I'm pretty sure I'm right. But for X Factor, though, man, I hope this doesn't deflate them. It's huge that Maryland gets that, but for X Factor, I hope they keep their wits about them. Losing that fight, there's still 2 more maps. They can still get the job done.
All about that mental fortitude, right? So X Factor, Maryland, I think, honestly, fellas, we've been saying those 2 teams are going up against each other. I'm looking at NRG, PB.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I'm not sure NRG has been doing enough here tonight. Sure, they had 4 eliminations in this last match. Game number 1, they had 1, right? So I know the big matchup was X Factor, Maryland, but this is the 2nd game in a row that both of these squads have been playing consistent. And you know who hasn't? NRG.
This is worst case scenario for NRG right now. 2 teams below them to start the day. Ultimately, both of them come out with 2 top 3 finishes in the first couple of games. Come on, that is worst case scenario. And on top of that, they're both picking up elims. Both teams pick up elims in the final fight there. So, really worst case scenario. It would not surprise me, Dave, to see NRG fall out of the top 10 now. After that little final skirmish, this was madness. And again, with X Factor having a 2-point lead coming into this match, they weren't the ones that finished on top. So both teams are going to be able to leapfrog quite a bit up the board. We'll see if NRG does indeed fall out of the top 10, but this should be a wake-up call here after game 2 for them, Taylor.
21 points. That's match number 1. Straight out of Nepal obviously had a great game number 1. Game number 2, was looking good for them. They got into some early skirmishes. They will finish off in 12th place with 2 points, but the big storyline again is Maryland, and what a performance it was. Dauntless also, given their flowers, they had a great game. 4th place, 10 eliminations. They're a very consistent team, a lot more consistent than they were at the start of the tournament. Dave, you called it early on. I'm actually very impressed. They look scary going into finals, which surely they're going to be at. Dauntless, a consistent team.
Well, hey, listen, we're not there yet, all right? I called Dauntless being number 1 come the Premier Finals, all right? I'm laying it all on the line. iNCO has me big concerned with how they've been playing throughout the tournament when it comes to like competition to really start to get me to sweat. But honestly, like I said, I'm a big believer in momentum. X Factor, Maryland NA, they are building up that momentum here tonight. So talk about teams coming from the bottom, who we should expect if they qualify, of course, and continue on to next week. They're going to be some heavy hitters when it comes to Premier Finals, up against iNCO, up against Dauntless, and they've just been ramping up this whole time, improving every single week, and that's honestly what you want to see.
And forgive me for not doing my due diligence, and I absolutely should. PB, Maryland NA, do you know the history of that? Not necessarily the players itself, but at least the team name. It almost sounds well, it almost sounds collegiate. I don't know. I know there's a collegiate program happening.
It does sound very collegiate, very club-like, coming out of the northeastern USA, but in fact, it is a Brazilian org.
No kidding.
That has come into the U.S. and picked up a North American roster. Yeah, I mean, it could have fooled me. I'm very happy that we did a little background on this prior to the broadcast, because I was wondering the exact same thing. Like, what's behind the name here with Maryland? So anyways, Maryland out of Brazil, who would have thought? But very interesting.
It's kind of like Pittsburgh Knights. Pittsburgh Knights were a Latin American organization, right?
Absolutely. So crazy stuff overall. I'm very excited to dig into the standings. Very excited to see what shifts are taking place, who is going up, who is going down. But we'll have to, put a pin in that here until they are ready in just a moment, Taylor.
That's it. All right, 2 games down, 2 more to go to decide our top 10. Things are getting close. You don't want to miss out. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Map 3 Sanhok will be coming your way. back, everyone, to Titan Series Season 6 Premier Division Week 3. We are 2 maps in with 2 more to go, and we're heading into what North America loves, and that's Sanhok. Why? Because they get overly aggressive. If you watched PMSL, whether it be spring or fall, you probably were used to North America not having the most teams on the map. For some reason, would always find each other, cannibalize each other, and leave just one team remaining. So we go into hallowed grounds for our North American players anyways. I'm Taylor Reflections, though, of course, joined by Mustache Dave and Powerbank. 2 more games to go. Things are getting serious, and we need to take a look at our standings to set the narrative. And Dave, I start off with you.
What up? Straight out of Nepal from Texas, I heard too, by the way. But yeah, who am I looking at here? X Factor finally gonna be in that 10th place position. We're starting to see super lazy Reflex kind of slide down that 9th place here. And honestly, overall, fellas, I'm getting big stressed out here because these
holy crap, Maryland's in first
all over the place.
Don't. Maryland wins. Maryland wins map number 2. Okay, Maryland is in first for map number 2, but we will see at least a little bit later on to see if they did pass up X Factor, which of course they did. They were only 2 points separating the two. There were 7 points gained on them. Still very close in that run. They get their second ever winner chicken dinner for Titan Series Season 6. Let's take a look at overall standings and see what we're looking at. For 0-2, they hold on tight, but it's getting very, very close for iNCO and PB. Let's take a look on. Whoa, Maryland's actually in top 8. That answers the question.
Don't you be skipping to the second page just yet. We got a Maryland sighting on the first page. This is insane. Maryland takes up the 8th spot. We'll see who they jumped over in just a minute. Everything else kind of stays the same with the exception of one team here. That's Farvoice Gaming putting up their second goose egg of the day. They've slid down to a tie for 5th. Ace of Spades with some momentum, about to pass them up as well. So Farvoice Gaming already has slid down from 3rd place today all the way to 5th, and it does not look like that will stop now. We'll keep an eye on it as we progress into the second half of today's games. But
I don't see NRG, though.
Yeah, they have indeed slipped to 11th place, out of qualification range right now. They've got some big turnaround that they need to do, Dave, in this second half of today's games.
See, I knew what I was talking about. I was just on ×2 speed on the YouTube stream. So, you know, I was onto something out here, all right? SLR getting bumped down just a little bit. X Factor still in that cutoff position. But now all eyes are on NRG, a team that has been consistently in the top 10. Now finally getting bumped out here, fellas, with 2 more games to go. But the question is, we're going to Sanhok, all right?
Yeah.
And we know what happens on Sanhok. There's always at least 2 teams that like to throw the tournament by dropping runes and just, you know, putting a halt to that momentum. So are we going to see that happen on tonight's final game of Sanhok?
You know what gets weird about this, all right? The 2 teams that fought it out on Sanhok and Bruins last week was Maryland and NRG, okay? It was Maryland and NRG, 2 teams who right now have 2 of the most important games of the Titan Series Season 6 as far as I'm concerned. We don't know how Challenger
right now.
And NRG's dropping there. Does Maryland match the energy? And I pray they don't, and I don't think they're going to. This is a smart call from them. PP, there's no reason for Maryland to challenge NRG off the rip. If I'm them, I'm playing safe. I'm taking my time. I'm seeing where the zone's at. I'm playing just straight PUBG Mobile, right? Nothing too crazy because we're already top 10. I'm not letting that go easily.
We've seen this all day long from Maryland. They have played passively until the final circles. They've basically secured themselves a nice loot location. They haven't engaged early. They've looted up, and they've only taken fights once they're already in the top 5 or 6. And that is something that they're probably going to look to continue here on Sanhok today. Obviously, that's going to be zone dependent. But to the ruins, NRG goes. They were going to be expecting a fight there. It doesn't look like they'll have one early. But that's an interesting, kind of tip of the cap to their mentality at this point is they are hungry and looking for a fight right now. To recap kind of where things are at, we just, we hovered on that second page of the standings for just a moment before we had to hop into game. NRG currently out, and they need points to catch up to X Factor right now, who is sitting on the cutoff. NRG is 3 points behind X Factor right now, and they've got to fight early with Shining Legacy, and you got to think this might have been intentional, Taylor.
Oh my, it had to have been. I mean, they got the first knock. What just a close call, though, for XPX, who nearly gets dropped himself. That would have been devastating for NRG, but luckily it works out for them. And they should finish off with 2 eliminations off the rip, Dave. That's great for NRG. It was high risk, but they're getting rewarded.
Yeah, real big for NRG, considering they're only 3 points behind X Factor. So they definitely ate their lucky charms to think that Shining Legacy, the feeder team, drops right on top of them here. So NRG should be able to match X Factor. But X Factor, I mean, when we look at both those teams, X Factor, they're definitely coming into map number 3 with a lot more momentum underneath their belt, especially after almost winning the last match here. Vortex, though. Vortex gonna be spotting out XYZ through the window, but now that will alert NRG where the last player over here in the general area is gonna be for Shining Legacy. So we should be taking them out here any moment now. But looking around, we do see Inferno Pika kind of backfilling runes as well. I would say the same with Golden Eagle. So although NRG, yes, sure, they're getting a couple eliminations right off the rip, there's going to be 2 different teams pretty much playing with nothing to lose at this point, right?
Right.
And that's what I'm worried about, because NRG, they can't make any mistake here, because then that will be their Premier Finals direct invite, essentially here. So Golden Eagles, Inferno Esports, they might play spoiler here on this Sanhok match to NRG.
Good. And Crusher's on the opposite side of the water. He's keeping Golden Eagles pinned up. Meanwhile, you've got NRG XPX, who's all by himself. He's split off from the NRG roster, and he's now kind of pinned up on the bridge. You mentioned that back flank, though, from Pika, and Pika takes down 24K, so he's gone. NRG starts off great, but now this split has me a bit worried. Plus, Peak is kind of the linchpin that could very well disorganize and disrupt NRG, who's currently very, very split, more split than they should be. And now XPX is down. NRG goes from excelling and being exciting to now absolutely getting dismantled, PB.
This is tough, man, because Inferno's rolling up on the scene as well. 2 more vehicles roll in. And not only do NRG have to deal with the Golden Eagles here, but Inferno and Pika, who had that angle held, his teammates just rolled up as reinforcements, and NRG is going to try to hold on right now with just 2 players remaining. They make up those 3 points early, but if they're out of the lobby, you know, one can only assume that every other team is just going to put distance between them as this game on Sanhok goes on.
Baby.
Of course.
Who do you think wins this Reflections?
X-Force TGames in a fight.
Bebe?
Ooh, Bebe's gone.
Bebe
That's
down.
tough. Going down, and TGames now feeling the pressure. They want to push up. Alim, though, Dave, how many times have we seen Alim almost clutch up? And he's got that off angle, man. He's scary.
Clutches it, but his teammates are getting picked apart here. Papa Triste, though, finally able to get a point on the board. It's up to Alim. We got the M4. Got the hollow sight. You can assume his teammates are saying safe res right now, but Alim slowly getting pinched right now from TGames, from these grenades. And now here comes Unknown with the UMP jump shot pre-fire right there, trying to make sure Alim stays behind the shack. And there we go. Alim knocked down and out. And it's going to leave 3 point. The guy coming in, going for that revenge play, has the grenade in hand. The last member alive right now, carrying the baton for the squad. But TGames, they got his number. DBS in hand. Grenade explosion in the front. It's up the 3 point to clutch this one out for his squad mates here.
I think he might be able to get it. Oh, 3 point. Yes, do it. Yes, 3 points. No, 3 points. You were so close. Oh, you were so close. But good effort nonetheless, man. Dodging nades, dodging players, pushing in like zombies in the night. Hey, you got to give them credit where credit is due. Good effort as a whole. But TG will win the fight, and they get away with all 4 of their members. I thought they were going to lose at least one. They do not, so good on them, PB.
You know, sometimes you just get lucky, and ultimately that's what happened there. Had those teammates arrived literally 1 second later, they were going to be down 2 men, and 3 point with a valiant effort, just a little bit short here. Kindness somehow gets through I don't know what just happened. Kindness is dead. He's out of here. Kindness is gone. On Ying, you know, in the first game was the one that got picked off hopping over the wall. This time it's Kindness going through the window. These are the two players for SLR that you can't be having picked off. And unfortunately for them, that's who is getting taken down to start the action each and every time. So SLR unable to build any of that big McMomentum, whatever Dave was talking about between games. SLR does not have it.
The McMomentum. All right, it's coming in. I mean, going back to SLR though, they're kind of backfilling on the overall leaderboards what NRG was last match. Right now, NRG in 11th on the overall. SLR in 9th, and if I'm not mistaken, they started today in like 7th or 8th position. So right there, SLR losing 2 of their key players on a very sketch push, essentially right there. It's really going to come down to the final match for SLR on whether or not they qualify to the Premier Finals.
Here it is, PB.
Giddy
The
up.
horse!
Look at
Metaphor
this.
was saying, look at it go!
Yeah, look at him go!
Look at him go!
Freaky!
Yo, yeah, he would say that too. SLR on the high ground over 0-2. 0-2 has had a tough start of the day, man. You know, they've had 2 games where they haven't excelled, and therefore that's opened up the door for iNCO to catch up to them. With SLR having the high ground, putting the pressure on 0-2, it does make things a little bit interesting. Granted, 0-2's well within his zone. In fact, they're almost dead center, so they don't have to go anywhere. They're not really at risk, but, I mean, is there a chance, Dave, where SLR could hurt 0-2 despite 0-2 not having to rotate out?
Not at all. I mean, they're just popping their tires at this point, just being a pest. So they're really going to have to clutch it out. SLR, they got 2 squad mates overlooking 0-2, but like you said it, Taylor, they're almost as dead center as you can be when we are looking at 0-2. So out of the 2 teams, the duo from SLR are in the more dangerous position out there in the open. So who knows, though? I mean, a horse. Remember, SLR, they might have that horse whistle. They can call the horse and might just win the game. But Golden Eagles out here. Golden Eagles out here up against TGames right now. Golden Eagles 13th overall. TGames 7th on the overall leaderboard. So TGames.
This is big, Dave.
More bonus points.
At 7, though, it's deceiving because they're only 4 points ahead of the cutoff at 7th place right now. There are multiple teams as I kind of look at the standings right now. There's TGames, Maryland, Super Lazy, Reflex, X Factor, and NRG all kind of battling for those 4 spots. One of those teams will be left out, and none of them are safe right now. TGames and Maryland tied for 7th right now at 131 points. X Factor is right behind them at 127. All these teams are putting up points so far, and I see a goose egg for SLR, so they are in danger of slipping further down the rankings, and this is not what you want to see if you're SLR. So that spot on the hillside, you know, challenging against 0-2, they have to be super careful not to go down.
My God, you're right. TGames, they could be in trouble. TGames has to step it up and go in. I hope they can, man, because they're such a good roster. And for iNCO, again, another roster that's tried to break into first place. A chance to do so, and maybe even, I don't know, get the off angle into XYQ for Crushes. I think it's a bit over. I think he's going to be out, but that's all right because you got Gary, who has kind of XYQ at bay. Granted, I think they definitely know where he's at, so Gary's in a bad spot. I thought he was in a great spot.
Gary can clutch it, though. We've seen some massive plays from Gary here. And they got the crossbar. Wancho behind the tree, going to be taking them shots down range. That is going to be Trick swapping to the DBS M4 combo. Wancho going for that heal. Trick has his number. Pre-fire in the tree. Same could be said for Wancho, but now Wancho's teammate pulling up. Here's Gary. Big man Gary looking for a big play with the DBS, baby. And there it goes. Gary coming in clutch. XYZQ, you're getting eliminated here. Not having the best
There was a lot
nights.
of consonants in that sentence, Dave.
XYZ,
You said a lot of consonants there. That was crazy.
INCO, Gary X. We got it all cooking out here, but
hey,
coming
did you guys notice
top.
TGames went down? They're out of the lobby. Right as we said that. They are out, and you know, the timing on that one fight that they had in the shack out there where Freepoint was just a second shy of eliminating a couple of them, that was going to be huge for them because they did pick up 4 points from that fight. But they do go out to see if that's enough to keep them in their current position. But man, TGames has got to be feeling a little scared right now as well.
Sure. Okay, hear me out, right? Golden Eagles, 43 points away from breaking into top 10, but at 9 eliminations right now, okay? At 9 eliminations with 11 teams still remaining. They're going to lose Moose. They're still okay because they've got 9... okay.
What were we saying?
So what were you saying?
They're falling. I should have just not said anything, bro. I am appalled at myself. I am so disappointed, and
I mean, they might win this though. They might win this fight, but
they're up against Coops, bro.
Regardless,
I can't.
What are you saying?
That is crazy.
I'm sounding the
Coops
alarm
comes
on
in
you.
and clubs him with the butt of the gun. He doesn't even fire. He just turns around and clubs him over the back of the head. He's out of the lobby. Coops wins.
That is the alarm on Taylor. He was about to say they could qualify. I think that's where he was going with this. It's like 40-something points. They got this. I think that's where you're going with that.
Disgusting.
Dauntless up to 8 elims now, and they keep all 4 up here. They've got some good momentum going. Dauntless showed up to play today for sure, but also with 4 members still up is Maryland. Again, playing passively. No elims so far, but they start to get cooking towards the end of the game, and I've been watching them just kind of looting up in the southeastern corner of the map. They started to grab a great position right now, but they should be going up against Ace of Spades here real shortly.
Ace of Spades, they've done some damage today in Maryland, 0-2. Well, Ace of Spades might be able to take them down. Maryland, again, they need a great game here. They've already got it done in game number 2. We talked about them playing a bit more passively. It has definitely paid off. Their positioning leading into late game has been so great to the point where they're now able to third-party a lot of the rosters. You go back to the last Miramar, right? They did so flawlessly, stunningly. Granted, it came down to an exhilarating 1v1, but they got the job done. The only thing that Maryland truly needs to watch out for is straight out of Nepal, who now has to rotate into zone. They're most likely not going to cross the water, so there is a chance straight out of Nepal, Maryland do run into each other, but you also got Ace of Spades there too. I don't know. Maryland's about to be surrounded, and I already cursed Golden Eagles, so I'm going to stop now and just see how it plays out, Dave.
No, I mean, this is good, though. I mean, Maryland, they're going to be put to the test. Toyota right there on the edge within some type of hard cover. But now we're starting to see 0-2 pull up. We're starting to see Ace of Spades make their move as well. So really, it's a good test for Maryland to see how they handle Sanhok and playing from the edge. But going over here to 0-2 on their pull up against the duo from SLR. Looks like there's just one more player alive for SLR. For how long, though, is the question. We're going to be popping out on Yang with the DBS, trying to get some damage on the board. There goes one. Almost getting the confirmation. No, we do get the confirmation. So on Yang putting in a lot of work as a solo to really play spoiler out here to 0-2 on their night with only 3 eliminations and losing one of their squad mates on that push.
I want to see, Taylor, if that one elim from SLR makes a difference at the end of today. That right there could be the moment that gets them into the finals. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on it, but I will say...
Scripted.
Yeah, right? We're watching Maryland as they cruise towards the end game here with all 4 players up. The teams around them, there's 5 teams right now battling for 4 spots. Again, it was NRG, Super Lazy Reflex, X Factor, and TGames. Aside from Maryland, 3 of those teams are out of the lobby right now. And one of those teams only has 2 players remaining. That's NRG. They've got an opportunity again here. Maryland, they were on the outside looking in coming into today. They've got an opportunity to maybe solidify their spot kind of to the next stage right here, right now.
Maryland, though, they don't want to give up that compound. They're going to hold it as long as they can, which means most likely they will be fighting Ace of Spades inside the blue. And that's not a good thing, but hey, it's what's going to end up happening. Versa, he might be the tip of the spear here. Unfortunately, Baby Tang has been lost, and we know Baby Tang, an incredible player. Losing him early on is definitely going to hurt. And Ace of Spades are feeling themselves. They're pushing up. Now, really, this next series of utility is going to be so important, and Becker's going to throw one out, and I think it gets a little bit of chip damage, but it's not going to be enough to get a drop. And Maryland in a lot of trouble. Versa drops yet another, and you're now down to just one if you're Maryland, and he puts up a wonderful fight, but it's not going to be it. And Maryland goes from 4 up to 4 down as Ace of Spades put him into the grave.
Yeah, Versa in particular right there showing up with the shotgun at the end, pretty much 1v1ing Maryland. Versa, wow. We've seen Versa make some plays throughout the show days, and that right there is another one for the highlight reel.
You know what that means? Farvoice Gaming's out again, third game in a row with 0 points. That means Ace of Spades is going to shoot past them on the leaderboard right now. So Ace of Spades has all things kind of cooking for him. They have been present in basically every late game today, making moves. Granted, they're down to just one player right now, but securing some much needed placement points, but also those elims. You know, Ace of Spades really impressing so far today.
Straight out of Nepal, we catch back up to them against NRG, and NRG holds their grounds. What, started off very great for NRG. They started off hot and heavy in the Ruins fight, or at least just a little bit above that, then turned into turmoil. They lose 2 players. They get caught out. I'm thinking NRG is going to have another bad game, but they seem to have cleaned up their act. They're playing a lot better than they did in the first Erangel, where they full sent it in with 2 players straight into Maryland, getting 7th place. Now, they are top 7 once again. They've got 2 players still up with 4 total eliminations, and maybe more to come. This is the NRG that I want to see. Right now, they're playing smart, and I think they kind of realize at this point, Dave, where they're like, okay, well, we have to play smart. We're outside of top 10 for the first time in a long time. Now they're feeling the pressure, and that pressure is finally allowing them to play better.
Yeah, unfortunate for them. X Factor only had 2 eliminations, so if they can just survive a little longer, they might be able to overtake that 10th place position again, really leaving it down to just one more match to qualify or not. So we will have to continue to see how that 10th place cutoff for the Premier Finals direct invite plays out here as we progress to the final map of the evening. Shining Legacy, their solo player. Fellas, let me just put this out there. 68 points, all right? 60. Do we see... I guess you guys aren't catching my joke.
I got you, Dave.
I'm not commenting, Dave. I'm not taking the bait.
Just waiting for you to finish, Dave.
Whatever. Moving on. All right, moving on. Who is this a big game for? I guess who is
NRG?
NRG still alive? Yeah, it has to be them, huh? For that 10th place.
The way it started, Dave, with them getting knocked a couple of times early and all of those teams crashing on them, the teams disengaged and didn't finish the fight. NRG could have been wiped early, but instead they make it to the late game. Not only that, they pick up a few more elims, and they're hanging tough right now. They're not in a good position. It's not going to be a banner game for them by any means, but they've outlasted every other team that is vying for that top 10 out of that group of 5 that's kind of battling for that final spot. They've outlasted, and that's been huge. So NRG, for me, has already matched what they needed to catch up to X Factor, and now they need one more point to get them ahead.
Oh, take advantage of this. Yeah, there it is. 0-2. Full sends it into the water. NRG puts him into the blender, punishes him. They just don't know where the remaining players are at. This could be great for NRG. I mean, this is where I want to see it. They need to own this moment. Like, this is where NRG, they've got the cards, as far as I'm concerned, in their hand. This is their positioning to capitalize on and get a couple more eliminations to continue to push themselves back into the top 10, and I think they're going to be just fine. Meanwhile, Dauntless, iNCO, 0-2. I mean, it's a smorgasbord. Everybody's feasting, but Dauntless is the one eating the most, as Baton will be finished off. 0-2 now. It's like, I don't know how we got here, but we need to get out of this situation absolutely ASAP. And I do want to point out, by the way, for another storyline, Dauntless, straight out of Nepal, Dauntless could very well jump into top 3 for the first time during Titan Series Season 6 and knock down straight out of Nepal from 3rd place. That's also at play here, with Dauntless now sitting at 11 eliminations. Very healthy, the healthiest team in the lobby. PB, they're going for gold, and top 3 is well within their line of sight.
I think it's just a matter of chemistry with these guys. They've got Klaus, they've got Coops. It's a matter of playing together a bit longer, starting to string some things together, and it looks like today is when it is all clicking. Things are going right for Dauntless. They're putting up double-digit elims each and every game, rapidly ascending this leaderboard, and who knows, maybe they won't even stop at top 3. They've got their eyes on iNCO, who is now out of the lobby, and they've also taken it to 0-2, winning the head-to-head. So Dauntless, all the wind in their sails right now as they look down their sights at 0-2 trying to get them out of the lobby.
Big zone for NRG right there too. They still got that hard cover right there on the tip as a duo. So yes, Dauntless, they got the numbers advantage, but NRG, they're gonna have the way of the terrain right now. So straight out of Nepal, they got the duo. They got Blaze. Blaze has been putting in some work here tonight. Blaze with the DBS jumping in the air, looking for the pre-fire. There's one XP3 behind the tree. Got him. Here's another one. Got him. But Blaze taken out from Rose right there. I was looking for Blaze's squad mate Frankie, but Frankie was taken out from a third party from NRG.
Oh, they're pushing up, but they're pushing up a little bit sluggishly. You know, they obviously don't see what we're seeing, but if they would have known there was a couple of players down, that would have been the perfect opportunity to push up and get the finish. But it seems as if once NRG does push up, now they're going to be going against 3 members from Dauntless, who's going to be up ahead of them. But NRG's done their job. They've got second place. They've got 7 eliminations. The cherry on top would be getting this win, but with Dauntless now a 3-man army pushing forward, I think NRG is all but done with that. Nate Cookie Bitsky has to jump out. He's going to get lasered. And now it's up to XYZ. And Coobs, he's going in for the finish. And Dauntless is surely going to get this winner chicken dinner and elevate themselves up to 3rd place. I say that, hold up, maybe there's a glimmer of hope. XYZ gets 1, but it's shortly going to be lost. NRG 2nd, Dauntless in 1st, straight out of Nepal in 3rd. And Dauntless will get the biggest game of the day, Dave, with 15 eliminations. I know that puts a smile on your face.
Dauntless Coops with 9 eliminations. Dude was thrown down. Rose 2, XP3 getting shot behind that tree with the DBS with 2 and Klaus with 2. So Coops, MG3 coming in clutch right there. Dauntless, they are not only looking for that 1st place, but they're looking for all the bonus points come for the Premier Finals. I think they're also looking for reflections to put some respect on the team name, finally, man. That's what they want, man. You've been dissing Dauntless for the whole season, all right? Now what do you have to say? Now what do you have to say?
I'm not dissing them.
You've been dissing them.
I haven't been dissing. I've just been saying, you know, they're not that team that you think they are. However,
I know who they are. I know what team they are. What are you talking about? What?
They're great. They're awesome. I mean, come on. They just got a big win, okay? But they could have got a big loss. Let's sober it up a bit, okay? PB, if NRG just would have pushed in that moment, right, where there's only 1 player up going for the reses. Again, they don't see what we see. But come on, NRG could have won that game. They didn't do anything wrong. I just want to make that apparent, but they could have.
The way it started here, Shining Legacy, I mean, look at XPX's health bar right here. He gets picked off early. Golden Eagles comes in. This is the way it started for NRG, and could you imagine at that point that they had the upper hand in a 1v1 for a chicken dinner? That is not somewhere I thought this game was going to go, but they ultimately had that opportunity, didn't take advantage of it. But man, the standings are going to be mixed up after this one, because we saw NRG go from comfortably, you know, in the qualification to outside looking in, and now with that 2nd place finish, they should be back to comfortably in for this this next standings read when we get there. But man, what is going to be the situation for those other 4 teams? Obviously, we'll see that shortly. I'm also looking at the top of the leaderboards right now. Dauntless with their 3rd game in a row where they just came out clapping people. And they've got to be threatening now for, if not, they're assuredly top 3, but they could be threatening top 2.
You know what? Top 2 could be a reality, which is crazy to me, given how far they were down starting the day. But they've really had a good day. I mean, they've excelled. And in Titan Series fashion, and I really do think this is the case, throughout all 6 seasons, this might very well be the closest scoreline we're going to have, at least in qualifiers, for the bottom teams, right, who are trying to break into top 10. I mean, it is so dangerously close. When we get to the standings, you'll see just how close it really is. If I'm one of the bottom 3 teams, aka like, you know, 7th down to 11th place, like, I'm nervous. I really am. If I'm in top 10, I don't feel safe at all. I know this next game quite literally is going to determine whether we play in Challenger Finals or we go to Premier Finals. But give the flowers once again to Dauntless. 25 points is such a massive accomplishment, but even bigger, in my opinion, for NRG Galaxy to go from what could have been or what was really a catastrophic game number 2, dropping out of top 10. The pressure's on. They start this game, as you said, PB, right? Losing 2 players, forced to fight with just 2 remaining players against full rosters, and to still get second place. 8 eliminations, 14 points is huge. And for NRG Galaxy, they have their inconsistencies, but right now, I gotta say, I'm pretty happy. So let's go ahead and cut over to the final standings, Dave, because this is where we need to start telling the story heading into the final game, man, because it's as close as could be.
Let's get. By the way, kindness from SLR. Never again going to jump in a vehicle with Pig, because I have no idea where Pig was going. Pig literally drove and crashed in a building that had a whole squad in it. Kindness jumped out. It's like, what are you doing? Both players immediately taken out. But here we go. The standings 0-2, still at the top. I think PB called it. Dauntless, 3rd place. They're eyeing that top prize. I mean, if they continue to perform like we've seen here tonight with their massive elimination games, they might just have what it takes to finish.
What
and
if they
get
put up
these
25,
points.
Dave?
That's
Just like
it.
they did this last game.
That's the
and
bonus
0-2
points.
goes out early.
That's the bonus points right there. That's what I'm
wild,
saying.
man.
Dauntless, they're clocking in the final day.
That's a crazy prospect. But I don't know, man. Anything is possible. If that happens, get an eye slit. 100%, bro. My eyebrow slit. Not my eye slit, but my eyebrows. Okay, let's do the eyebrows.
Let's just shave your eyebrows. How about that for being a hater?
That's a little bit too far, though. All right, here we are, 9th and 10th, 133, 130, 129. Okay, so at least for SLR and X Factor, Maryland, and then even a little bit further up, right? 7th, or it should be 8th and 7th place. So it's 138 to 129. There's 9 points separating 11th place to 7th place. All 5 of those rosters, PB, can drop down out of top 10. A scary, scary prospect.
Absolutely. I mean, this is why that last game for NRG was so huge, because it did give them an 8-point cushion from the cutoff right now. It's unlikely that all 4 teams, right, are going to make up that gap and be able to jump over them, but the gap isn't 8 points for every team. It's only 3 points for TGames. It's 5 points for Maryland. So it is possible that all of those teams could find themselves on the outside looking in, and it all comes down to Erangel, the tried and true, old trustworthy map of PUBG Mobile to get it done. And so I'm looking squarely at those 5 teams to see which one is going to clutch up and get it done. I mean, even some points here is better than nothing. You just can't be going out early, and you can't be putting up a goose egg. As long as these teams don't do that, they should be okay. But obviously, this is one where going out and securing a 15 elim chicken dinner like Dauntless just did last game, that's got to be the goal.
All right, here it is, the final game for the qualifiers. Who's going to be the top 10? We're going to find all that out and more. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, the final qualifying game for the Titan Series Season 6 will be underway. Welcome back, everyone, to Titan Series Season 6 Premier Division, week number 3. The final game of the qualifiers is about to be underway. Of course, we're hopping into, as PB called it, the tried and true Erangel. It's going to decide who will be the top 10, who will have to play throughout the Challenger Finals on December 9th. It's as close as it can possibly be, and an early exit could very well be your demise, and, well, you will have a longer road to get to Premier Finals. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, of course, joined by Mustache Dave and Power Bang. Again, it's as close as can possibly be, Dave. Not only for top 2, right, because Dauntless is making a miracle run, but SLR, X Factor, Maryland, TGames, NRG, all potentially at risk of dropping down below top 10.
Yeah, by the way, fellas, this pin, there's only 15 of them ever made. 24 karat gold. Oh, Power Bang's got one, too.
I don't got one.
There you go. So, well, reflections, I guess that's why you pick Golden Eagles to qualify. I don't know, man, but
that makes zero sense, Dave. I'm going to be completely honest with you. There was no.
What do you mean? The people with the pins know, they're not going to qualify to the Premier Finals. That's why.
Golden Eagles aren't. Well, actually, you're right. Okay, that's not. Okay, they're not going to qualify. Well, I don't know. I hope they do. At 37 points, we've been down this road. I set it up.
You don't have the pin reflections. That's my point.
That is by far the worst caster curse. What are we doing here? So we got the pins. We got
game 4. What happened? It's game 4. That's what we're doing.
I was looking for a pin. I found an eye patch. I was like, hey, I got to put it on. I got to put it on.
Show something random from the desk.
I got toilet paper. Okay. I got a little cold. Okay.
I don't know about that one, man. I don't know about that one.
Okay.
Fair enough. All right.
Going back to the leaderboards, though, SLR, 10th place right now, fellas. SLR, 10th
You know what I got to say to that, Taylor?
No.
This is my last word. No!
There we go. It's a little no button, and I press that when I see something that I vehemently disagree with, and I just said, so I'm
You don't like toilet paper, PB? Are you not American?
Not at the desk. No,
is toilet paper, not just not at the desk?
Bro. Can we get an instant replay of that horse or something?
Yeah.
Can we get the instant replay of Klaus going off in the shed? Okay.
Production hates you guys right now. Can we get some obscure replay from, I'd actually like day 4 when we weren't even broadcasting. Let's get that one. Throw the instant replay.
That happened. Well, it's observers. Observers are the ones that hate us when we cast because we're always calling out the opposite of where they're at on the opposite of the.
Let's go look at the other team that we're not looking at.
This team.
The fight starts to happen. I don't want to see
this like having an ADD caster, right? Can't focus for more than 2 seconds. Like, oh, this team over here, squirrel, got one. Guys, we got 5 teams that are in the mix right now. I want wagers on which team's not making it in based on what you see. So we've got NRG, TGames, Maryland, Super Lazy Reflex, and X Factor. X Factor is currently on the outside looking in by 1 point. Which team isn't going to make it? Dave, you start.
I think SLR. I think out of those, SLR will not make it. Yeah. SLR not making it.
Shiny Legacy, Inferno, I don't think are making it. If I did have to go up, though.
Safe bet.
you think so?
I think we're picking out of those 5 teams, man.
Okay, sure. Honestly, SLR. I'm not feeling it for them. I think SLR's been way too inconsistent. They're a team that drops the ball so much, and it's hard to say that.
That last push,
SLR
haters.
It.
No, that last push was horrible.
Both of you going SLR. They're currently sitting in 10th place. I mean,
I don't believe
I had to cast my vote in the ring right now. If I'm going to throw my
Sure.
name in the hat for who is not making it, I'm also going to go SLR.
So why do you do that? Why you do?
I mean, I don't know. I just wanted to call out the hate before I casted my vote. Same thing, though. All day today, I'm seeing people getting picked. They're not taking team fights. It's kindness. It's on Ying. They're getting picked, going over walls, into windows, and they never even have a chance. So ultimately, that's why I feel SLR is on notice. But like we said, no matter what we think, it's probably the opposite, as evidenced by every caster pick we've made today. We'll see. I'm hoping Farvoice Gaming can pick up their first point of the day, though, today, Taylor.
I will say, in X Factor's defense, because X Factor's in 11th place, they've had a standout day, and compared to where they started, compared to where they are now, they've made a heroic run. They truly have. The fact that they're about to break into top 10 is incredible. I mean, look, X Factor, started off the day in 4th place with 8 eliminations. They did went on to at least get, 2nd place with 7 eliminations. Last map, they dropped the ball a bit with 2 eliminations, but they've made some ground, some big ground. Where SLR, on the other hand, have only got 3 eliminations for the entirety of today, right? But it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. Regardless, wow, we are getting crazy off the rip. We take a back seat. Scottish, who's actually French, by the way, is going against Ace of Spades. He wants blood, and Kiddo's on the run.
Our being said, Farvoice looking to get at least 1 point today. And here it is. The 1 point.
Oh, we're on the board.
Got him. The hot drop
almost
from
paid for
Farvoice.
Oh, I like this zone too. Military, potential double bridges, bridge camping, right? It's got a little bit of everything. Dauntless trying to break into top 2. Now they got to worry about straight out of Nepal, who's going to be trying to gatekeep them. But meanwhile, straight into Nepal also has SL, Shining Legacy they're going to have to go against. Inferno might also push them. It's the last game of the qualifiers for Titan Series Season 6, and things are going to get crazy, I can guarantee it, PB.
Look at that mess over on the western side of the zone. All those teams going up towards Hospital, South George, Maryland, again, opting for a passive early game, taking the edge in. We'll see if they collide with any of these other teams that are up there as they kind of finish their rotation. But damn it, I'm just so happy for Farvoice Gaming getting on the board today. They got a point, baby. So, I like it. It's good to build that momentum. Might be a little too late today, but bonus points are huge. They need to be trying to get back up the leaderboard.
And talking about momentum, we might have a big fight in Pachinki, though. A real big fight. Here we go. SLR
this is huge.
And X Factor. This is the 10th and 11th place team by only 1 point here, by the way, fellas. Only 1 point.
If they fight this, guys, this is winner moves on.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Oh, man. I'd be nervous, but I'm also not a player, so I get to sit back and watch it. It's going to be great. Who do you got? X Factor, SLR. I mean, who's the better team in this fight? You know, it's weird. SLR, honestly, I kind of believe in them in this like straight up 4v4 engagement, Dave.
What we all said SLR aren't moving on.
I know, but it's just I feel it. I feel it in my bones, man. Been doing this a while, and SLR gets the first knock. Second, or it's going to be followed up though. Malaz will take down another member from SLR. Now a 3v3. Oh, pig up top. Malaz at the bottom. Hold up, this could get quite weird.
Whoa.
And X Factor will lose another. It's up to Highman and Pfizer. As X Factor, they're on high alert here. Like you said, PP, winner moves on. Who's going to get it?
You know, I really hope our story for winner moves on isn't settled in the first 30 seconds of the game. I'm just saying. I want some drama. I want to extend this storyline out a little bit, but we'll see what happens here. An early 2-for-1 trade. Team should have an opportunity to potentially get some reses, but Malaz is kind of out on an island right now, and we'll see if he can get picked up. This is trouble, though, for X Factor.
Kindness wants to res. Going for it.
Kindness should be able to get that pig on the rooftop with the barrel, I believe. No utility to be had. Hyman able to get into the compound. So it looks like X Factor going for the double revive, but Anyang with the Bison. Nice little spray down right there through the smoke. So Hyman was able to get the pickup on his squad mates. There are going to be 2 members of X Factor right beneath Ping, currently pinched down from Anyang on the outskirts here. X Factor, they really need to clutch this one out. 1 point behind SLR. Right now, they lost 2 of their squad mates. Now here comes the collapse from SLR.
All right. It comes to up close and personal. X Factor has to win this. But SLR, they're hungry. They're feeling it. They're aggressive. And another X Factor member is going to fall, leaving only just 1 more remaining. It's Hyman up close. DBS out, and Ying is going to fall. The second might, and no! SLR will win the fight. The bodies are going to be shot, and rightly so. SLR might have just punched their ticket into top 10.
And just like that, X Factor not able to get over the hump here. They were so close, and they've got to be mad, right? I mean, they were in the number 10 spot. They were over was it Maryland a bit earlier. And just like that, one game where it wasn't a bad game, they just didn't pick up a lot of points, and then to get into it off the hot drop with none other than the team that you're trying to catch, of all teams that they could have got up against. You wonder if it was orchestrated. I don't know that for a fact, but man, tough break for X Factor.
Tough break, but that's the way it goes. And X-Force might throw their hat in the ring too for SLR. I don't know. It's just SLR, X Factor in that fight. I just started feeling SLR, and the reason why is I don't know. SLR is a team that is very wishy-washy. But I tell you what, man, in their early engagements, especially if they've got their mindset, it's a straight-up 4v4. They're a force to be reckoned with every time. Now it's like the second fight, they already got their top 10. Now I start to think they start to fall apart. And I mean, I don't know. It's just that's just how SLR is as a team.
You know what happened is we all picked up to not qualify, so they qualify. I mean that's
told
all
you it'd be the
it
opposite.
Took. That's all it took. Was the reverse caster curse right there. So X-Force, they are in 12th overall, but they need 32 points. So unless they have one heck of a run here that starts right now with taking out SLR and then maybe even just wiping out the majority of the lobby with the winner wearing chicken dinner, then they might qualify. But honestly, that fight right there was most likely the deciding factor for SLR to get the direct invite to the Premier Finals and X Factor to go and compete in the Challenger Finals for their second shot at making those Premier Finals here.
So yeah, it looks like in order to qualify, X-Force will need 26 elims. So they're well on their way. You know, that's a lot, but it's been done. Has it been done? I actually don't know if that's been done.
Well, now you got the Golden Eagles coming
26
towards
elims?
you.
No.
So, I mean, they could get the ball rolling. I mean, they just took out SLR. Golden Eagles have not really been having a dominant night here tonight. So, like you said, though, gentlemen, like they're going to have to break some records, right? So,
well, let's talk about at least the run for first place, because we know Dauntless, has been fighting tooth and nail to catch up into second place. And then also for first place, you got iNCO and 0-2, and only 8 points separate those two rosters. Okay, so there's a very real chance we could see iNCO catch up to 0-2. Also, 0-2 could hold on to first, but what does that mean, right? What's tangible about that? Well, there's not money on the line per se. However, it does give you 2 additional bonus points heading into Premier Finals. So what are these bonus points? Well, for top 8 on the leaderboard, top 8 teams will earn bonus points going in to the Premier Finals. 8th place will get 1, and then it goes up from there to first place, which is at 10 total points. So for every spot that you move up, that's an additional bonus point spot or bonus point heading into Premier Finals. And then from second to first place is an additional 2 bonus points. And the same thing can be said for third to second place. So for top 3, there's still a very good battle happening between Dauntless, iNCO, and 0-2, who could all shift about depending on how this last game goes.
This is one of those final zones that I really enjoy, having that 50-50 bridge in the middle of it, and we'll see if that materializes here. NRG going early to secure their position up there at the lighthouse overlooking that bridge, and here we got the Golden Eagles getting into it with X-Force. X-Force knows that they need 26 elims, so they're going to mix it up. They're going to try to get things going. They've got Frady on his knees once again here, and well, here comes the push. We'll see if they're able to collapse fast enough before Golden Eagles can recover.
Oh, pow action right there. Another point in the pocket. Trolls trying to get the grenade. Frady going for that pickup. Bay on the rooftop. 1 grenade in hand. Gonna be chucking that boy over there. But Trolls in the compound with the UMP going for some free fires through the smokes, through the windows, really trying to cross their dots and mark their T's. I think I said that backwards, but yeah, sure. Frady gonna be over here tossing the smoke. Toss the smoke to get the pickup. But free point on the outskirts right now, really with the intel, and looks like X-Force trying to get the collapse going here. Frady back against the wall in the stairwell, immediately thirsted right there. There goes Trolls as well. So X-Force, they are showing up. Final game, yes, they had a tall ask, but already with 7 eliminations.
So things that are going to get weird here, Farvoice, Ace of Spades are still deadlocked down there at Military, and Straight Outta Nepal have rotated down the bridge. They're going to take the bottom end of Military as opposed to going to mainland. They want to face the least amount of teams as possible, and they're going straight into Farvoice and Ace of Spades. This is the second time I've seen Straight Outta Nepal go over the bridge. For example, they did on Sanhok, where they went on bridge and they took the dead end of zone as opposed to fighting, right, to try and get into zone through all the other rosters. So they are very methodical in the way that they rotate and the way that they continue to play, and they've now done it 2 games in a row, and they're the only team that I've really seen, you know, kind of think through that step where they're willing to tank a little bit of damage from blue in order to get a better advantage into the future zone. And we do see Straight Outta Nepal is actually going to take down one of Farvoice, and I think they're going to also take down Ace of Spades as well. And by doing so, they're going to have the dead end of the bridge, which could very well be the final end zone that we end up seeing.
It's very true. Right on the edge of blues on that fight, breaking out as well. But here on the monitors, we got Dauntless taking on TG. That's going to be an interesting one, as Dauntless trying to rack up a lot of elims here to try to vault themselves into at least second place. Again, that's where the bonus points start to get a little bit of a gap as they jump from 6 in third place to 8 in second place. And then obviously our first place team for the event will be taking 10 bonus points into the finals. And 0-2 looking like the favorite to get that done so far. But here is NRG, and they've been split right now. Good shots coming out from them. We'll see if this can hold serve here as he takes down Malcon, and now looks like a known win into the water.
Great little split right there. TGames trying to take up that tower. The NRG were holding down right there, but NRG with a great defense. TG just going to be trying to survive right now, honestly. Maryland as well. They did a nice little rotate near Core Pier. They're going to be up at Ferry Pier right now, right between 0-2 and XYQ right behind them. So we'll have to get back to that one because we're going fishing, fellas. It's 3 grenades. Doing it the old-fashioned way over here. Knows there's a player in the water. Gonna be trying to flush him out here. TGames just trying to survive a little longer here for into this match. NRG
Playzone just took down Ace of Versa from Ace of Spades down there at the military base. Straight Outta Nepal has leaped ahead of them and will now wait the winner of that fight on the edge of the circle. And the zone has gone even more 50-50 on that bridge. So this is going to be really interesting as we kind of check the map here in a moment to see where teams are starting to shape up. It's about to get really nasty on the northern side. Still about 12 squads up fighting for just a few compounds. Not many.
Yes, still putting in work over here. Really impressed here tonight, though, fellas, with Maryland. Honestly, if you would have asked me last week and the week before, would they have been a top 10 team? I believe I said no, right? And reflections, yeah, you were
no
getting
way
on me. You're getting on me for it, man. And honestly, they have night and day here tonight, in my opinion, when it comes to their slow rotations and not just straight up sending it, YOLOing it, right? Like you can really tell they're really planning these rotations out and playing the edge really well and really just showing up to that late game with the complete squad alive, right? And then getting involved, getting aggressive towards that mid to late game with their numbers advantage. So Maryland, you could tell they did a lot of homework, probably a lot of practice in those scrims that you were talking about last week, and huge improvements this week. So GG's to that team in particular for really pulling it together and most likely qualifying here to the Premier Finals tonight.
That's right, and the scrims we're talking about is the $4,500 North American Pro Scrims. The finale will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 5th. You'll get a chance to see who's going to end up taking it. It's a lot of fun. Got some wonderful casters over there and some great action. In fact, the same 16 teams here. The nades are starting to pop off as we get back on the action. As Maryland starts to wake up a bit. And XYQ, well, they're not too happy about that as Maryland starts to take them down one by one. I feel like we've seen this kind of same story play out, right? Even earlier in map number 1, XYQ desperately trying to hold on to a hardcover POI and getting picked apart, PB.
Absolutely. I laughed on that transition because I didn't notice it had switched yet, and I thought a grenade somehow found its way into that compound that was occupied by Freepoint. There was nobody even in range, so it caught me way off guard, but really nice shots here, taking down Casper on the rotate. Trick's going to be able to not quite get the finish, but Becker has to come support. Watch this nade on the transition here as he comes over the wall. We'll see if he's able to connect.
XYQ teams pulling in the big guns tonight. You know, they brought in Spec, Alec, no longer the IGL tonight. Really trying to give it their all to get that golden ticket for the top 10, but we will see them most likely in the Challenger Finals. Maryland going to be getting a nice little wraparound. They need to take out Trick in order to get the pickup on the Casper. Trick up here in the second story, just raining down hell with the grenades, the Molotovs, the bullets from the M4. Now swapping to the DP. Going to be picking up that shotgun. Threw some Molotovs on the stairwell to buy some time. Baby Thing, though, with the fadeaway. Getting that point right there in the pocket. 3 eliminations going the way of Maryland NA here.
And also able to get Casper back up onto his feet. So they're going to be a 4-man unit ready to take on the world, pushing forward. So what do we got? Dauntless still alive. iNCO as well, still hammering home the chance potentially at getting second place. 0-2 still alive as well with only 1 elimination, but the longer 0-2 stays alive, the better their chances of holding down first place. Again, to set the story for everyone at home, 0-2 has refused to give up first place. They have not given up first place whatsoever. They've been highly consistent despite even their bad games. It's their other games in the previous days, because don't forget, guys, these teams also play on Sunday. This is a 2-day tournament. Only 1 day is broadcasted. There's 6 total days of competition for the qualifiers. So it's been highly competitive. There's been a lot of opportunities to improve, but for 0-2, seems like they don't really need to improve. They've already been at the top of their game. They've been dominating, and they've been looking so good. Meanwhile, 0-2 and Maryland, the next fight potentially to go down. Crow is setting a trap, and it seems like the trap has been sprung. He's now on the run, and he's trying to maintain his life and get back with his boys.
Tough break for Crow trying to set that trap. It's unfortunate when it just doesn't quite pan out timing-wise like you hope it to, but 0-2 in a good spot right now. Again, slow starting on this this game once again for 0-2. Only 1 elim right now, and that matches that of iNCO Gaming. iNCO, the closest team to them, just 8 points behind. The zone has hard shifted twice now to the north, and it will be far north of that water, centering up on Dauntless, who owns the only compound in play at this point, and they're basically gatekeeping everyone else at this point. So really like Dauntless's position. And then coming from the south, it has been an absolute mess. One interesting, little number to look at is X-Force. They needed 26 elims. There might still be that on the board, but they better get busy because they got 9 right now. So they need another 17. No big deal. They can get it.
They're doing good though. I mean, 9 eliminations. They only lost 1. They're definitely having one of their better performances here so far. And just doing the math real quick as well on another squad, Dauntless looking to take that first place position. I believe they need like 25 points. So sure, they got the center spot. They got the whole squad alive, but they have 0 eliminations so far. Talking about eliminations though, iNCO Gaming, 7, shotgun in hand. Gonna be up close and personal. There's one, there's Toyota with the jump shot, drop shot, AKM right there. 7 trying to get a quick confirmation. Here comes Gary from the back with the support. UMP spray down right there. Becker, DBS, getting a nice shot on the board. Will be forced to pop behind cover. Now it's up to Crush. 6 grenades, trying to get that grenade cooking to perfection. Gonna be tossing it. Becker doing the same thing. Crushy gonna be jumping up top. But look at this. Casper coming in clutch right there with the DBS. Maryland adding another 2 points to their total.
And more importantly,
that'll clinch it for 0-2.
Yeah. 0-2 is up. So yeah, they're good to go, man. That was a close race though. 0-2 sweating all the way to the very end. So the entirety right of that shows 0-2 first and foremost able to hold on tight to what they got, but more importantly, Maryland also gets put in a difficult situation. They go against a beast of a team, which is iNCO, and they win the fight. again, making me even more excited, man, for Maryland going into Premier Finals. They're looking so good. They're nice and poised. We've showed variability, but they've been able to slow things down, speed things up, and take fights when they need to against even the Titans of the Titan series. And Maryland just looking great. Here's Casper, the hero of the last fight, now in damage control. Stay alive as long as possible because you got some heavy-hitting roster still alive. And I'm looking at Dauntless to be the front runner. They only have one elimination, but they're the healthiest team currently on the map.
Dauntless once again coming through with another big performance. Not quite as noisy as the last three have been. Only one elim right now, but they look to pick up several here towards the end of this game. And unfortunately for them, just not enough elims left out there for them to make any further moves up the standings to get that first place. But there's still an opportunity perhaps to catch iNCO, assuming they can go out and get it done. iNCO did put up 4 points, though, this game. So, again, Dauntless basically has to take out the rest of the lobby here to get it done. But I got to shout out NRG. They were down and out. They were not qualified after 2 games of play today. It looked like momentum was not on their side, but they have done an amazing job turning things around, shooting up the leaderboard in game number 3 with a second-place finish. And now here they are, once again, 10 elims so far, leading all teams. And they're prime position to take another top 3 here.
Love to see it. Let's see what they can accomplish here. X-Force still on their mission to qualify, even though I don't think it's possible at this point with the number of potential eliminations still on the board. So 9 eliminations. They're going to be pulling up to Casper. Casper hears the vehicles already cooking that grenade here. They're going to toss it. Casper, DBS in hand. X-Force playing a little passive, trying to get the Molotov into the Death Shack. Flush out Casper. Avoid the DBS shots here. X-Force looking to also end their night on a high note with a potential winner chicken dinner, as there goes Maryland down and out.
That was Coops from Dauntless who took him out too. So X-Force misses out on a critical elimination. Like you said, it's very close. It might be mathematically impossible regardless, though. They're giving it their best effort. And I like that fighting towards the end. They're going to need that energy going into Challenger Finals. Meanwhile, we've got Dauntless, NRG, 0-2, and X-Force last alive. Every team relatively healthy. It makes this in-game very exciting. Meanwhile, Crow gets an advantage on Klaus and takes him out 0-2. Looking to finish off with a bang, potentially with the winner chicken dinner, but the pressure's on. But they're a team that can take that pressure and turn into a diamond. I think they'll be just fine, but who's going to win it, man? Predictions, PB, what are you thinking?
This is a tough one here as we take a peek at the zone. Dauntless is dead center with the compound, so they've got to be the favorite. They've got Coops out headhunting right now. He is off on his own, hunting down X-Force. So that's going to be a really interesting fight if he chooses to take it. It does look like he will retreat, though, to center up on this compound as the next circle is getting ready to pop. Probably a smart play here. As much as I love to see Coop out making highlight reel plays in the open, this is probably the move for him to get this winner chicken dinner for the team. So I got to put Dauntless as my favorite. NRG, though, riding some impressive momentum. We'll see if they can succeed here going into the final circles.
Yeah, I do like the call for Coops to group up with his squad mates right there, because Klaus kind of doing the same thing, the headhunting, and was actually spotted by 0-2 as we saw moments ago. So when it comes to your question, though, NRG, I'm feeling NRG right there on the edge out there in the East. They're playing this one nice and slow. They already got 10 eliminations with over 2,000 damage done on the board. So really depends where this next circle takes us. We're only in stage 6, so we do have some more game to be played out here, but all of the 4 teams still alive. Triples, you know, they all are missing one of their squad mates.
3v3.
Yes, sir. And Dauntless dead center. Besides that, everybody just kind of playing their edge for the time being, healing up, getting the vehicles ready, the utility ready for next battle to come. We're about to see his next circle choose where it wants to go, and well, Dauntless still gonna be right there in the Alamo, dead center.
Dead center, huh? Does that benefit them? Possibly. They do got hard cover, so that's a great thing, but they'll soon be surrounded. I mean, you've literally got X-Force, NRG, and 0-2 are most likely going to be focused on you. I think this is going to be a really slow end zone. I mean, it seems exposed, but it's really not, given the fact that, you know, the topography, I'm going to use that word, hopefully, right? You know, it's quite hilly, even if it may not seem that way if you're looking at the mini-map. But yeah, I don't know. This is a toss-up for me. I really don't like that Dauntless is center zone, but maybe that helps them. I don't know.
I think they have it here, unless this happens right here, which is X-Force crashing in. This is the play that the other two needed, because neither one of those other squads could push in. And just like that, Coop's down in the basement early. We'll see if the return is good. It is. Rose gets the trade here, but gets clipped in the ankles on his way up the stairs right now. But the door is open for the other two squads. They could not approach the compound without taking each other out. But now that X-Force has crashed, there's a bit of a distraction out here on the battleground.
Lim right there, kind of just giving up, throwing in the towel. Like, yeah, I'm just going to go out right now. Getting shot from multiple angles. Rose still going to be alive, trying to get that ricochet off the windowsill. Not successful. 99999 doing the same thing on the opposite end. 10 eliminations right now for NRG. And there goes 9999 as well as Bisc. So XPX, the last one alive for NRG in their vehicle, is trying to get the pickup, and Dauntless just doing a great job at just taking shots at anything that moves right now that's not inside the compound.
And NRG are pinned down. Rose going to make their life very, very difficult to move out of that shed, which they're kind of stuck in, at least at the moment. And for Dauntless, winning that fight against X-Force a little bit earlier was absolutely critical. Despite them losing a couple of members, they now seem to be the healthiest team. Without question, the zone now is going to collapse in. NRG using that broken shed. That's all they could do, but the smokes are out. They look to be making a rotation into Dauntless, but the question is, does Dauntless take them out or does 0-2? Because that rotation is going to be deadly, PB.
This is Dauntless's game if they can make plays, and that was huge for Dauntless right there, because now the flank is gone. They can take the NRG fight head-to-head right now, but they are split. Rose and XP3. Oh, a huge finish there, taking down 999. So now NRG is down to 2 members. This is going to be really, really tough for them to push in. Bisc, though, takes down Foops on the edge. And now 0-2 down to 2 members as well. It is 2v2v2 going into our top 6 right now. So this is really interesting. All 3 teams now, even strength. But again, it looks like Dauntless with the compounds may have the upper hand.
Of the crossfire that Crow and Caprice kind of have right now in this building as well, both on opposite ends of the circle. Going to be looking through his windows, looking to third party this engagement right now. XP3 DBS in hand, going through their utility. Rose back against the wall, trying to avoid the grenades from X on the outskirts here as they square up. Bisc still in that shack over there. Ooh, nice little shot right there. Huge double. XPX right there, taking out Dauntless.
Wow. Man. So NRG now with the advantage. They've got the hard cover. 0-2. A bit split at the moment, but Crow, what a nade! Crow connects on XPX, and NRG's chances of winning now dwindled down. Capri knows where Bisc is at. Bisc is still in that shed from a little bit earlier. He'll take some damage, but the nades could be quite deadly, much like it was just a little bit earlier with Crow's nade. They're going to go trade back and forth. Capri needs to stay alive in the moment, and I think he's going to be relatively safe. But I think NRG, they might have just lost it. It connects, and it's going to be 0-2. The team that refused to let go of first place will solidify their spot throughout the qualifiers as the #1 team, earning 10 bonus points going into Premier Finals. 0-2. What a win.
You love to see it. The team that takes first place, putting an exclamation point on it, emphatically stamping their superiority over this lobby, and they'll have an opportunity to show that once again in the Premier Finals, where they will take in 10 bonus points. That cannot be understated. That's like getting a free chicken dinner to go into the finals, where, again, we'll have 6 games to figure out who is the Premier Finals champ. But man, oh man, Dave, we went into that last game with some drama on our hands. 5 teams vying for 4 spots, and that storyline was wrapped up with a bow in about 15 seconds, as we saw in Pratik.
Yeah, well deserved to 0-2. I mean, the hard work they put into the season. But guys, we got to talk about SLR and X Factor. The decision to just hot drop each other here at the very end. what if they didn't hot drop early on? Both teams, they would have had a chance to possibly qualify. But because they did hot drop, one of them got eliminated right off the rip here. And got to give flowers to X-Force as well, even though they had a tall ask ahead of them here for the final map in order to qualify. I think they're still going to leave here after this final map with their heads held up high. 10 eliminations, over 2,000 damage done. They had a lot of good team fights here in this final map of the evening, and it's going to be like a promising squad to look for in the challenger finals here. So what a match here for a lot of these teams to end things off.
Yeah, I mean, we knew it was going to be exciting just based off of that zone, right? And the way that it was setting up. And it absolutely was. I think every roster in top 10 proved why they deserved to go to Premier Finals. And as you kind of, said it for the teams going into Challenger Finals, I still feel like they put up a good effort. I really do. And I think they're going to be just as scary going into those Challenger Finals maybe then. I hope the Challenger teams are ready for that. I really do. But granted, the top 10 moved forward from Challenger Finals, Challenger Qualifiers, excuse me. There was 80 teams that played, and they are passionate, they are hungry. But this end zone, to take a pause on that, was just nutty. Dauntless went from being in a favorable spot to getting eliminated because NRG ended up taking advantage and taking them out, to then 0-2 throwing God nades, threading the needle, not only in the shack, but also a little bit earlier than that, in the hardcover POI through a window. Beautifully executed, and like you said, PB, putting an exclamation point on the qualifiers, 0-2, taking the final win of the qualifiers and solidifying first place. We take a look at the final standings, PB. Let's go through it. How did everything end up unfolding?
Well, like we thought at the beginning, 0-2, the gap might have been too large for the other teams to catch up, and it indeed was. 0-2 takes home the #1 spot after the Premier Qualifiers. iNCO, though, finishing up right where they started today in second place. Thought it was a decent day from iNCO, but unfortunately finished a bit too weak to close the gap. 0-2 with that win, able to stretch things out to 21 points. Dauntless in third place. Really impressive day from them. They look like a scary team, and I think the Premier Finals should be on notice. Dauntless is coming ready to play. Farvoice did not show up today, just the 1 point all day long. You know they wanted to do better, but the big surprise for me here on the first page, NRG Galaxy, out of contention after 2 games of play today, all the way up to 5th, where they're not only qualifying, but they're taking 4 bonus points with them.
Huge. They started today in 9th place. They got bumped out, like you said. We were like, yeah, they're not qualifying. Next thing you know, they got 2 really good games, and now walking away with those bonus points should definitely help them. But also another big standout has to be Maryland NA. Started today with 112 points, so they had a great day when it comes to the overall, ending with 142. So I'm ready. Oh, we actually know who qualified. I'm over here gassing it up here. Yeah,
well, let's show it.
That first fight. Well, let's show it though. I want to see it. Here we go.
TGames SLR and X Factor 4 points short. That's gonna definitely haunt their dreams. X Factor had such a great day, especially off the first 3 maps, or really the first 2 maps. I mean, just on fire. They had to cover a lot of ground, and again, it came down to that final fight, SLR versus X Factor. You see the 4 points. It was literally that 4-man squad wipe SLR was able to get on X Factor. If that goes the opposite way, or maybe they land in different spots, who ends up taking that fight? Well, PB asked that question. We'll never know, right? Unless we get both of those rosters once again competing against each other in the Premier Finals, which will be taking place on December 10th, which will be next Tuesday. But man, X-Force, Golden Eagle, XYQ, Inferno, Shining Legacy, X Factor, all now will have to go down to Challengers Finals. Play against the top 10 teams from 80 teams who qualify or tried to qualify to the Challenger Finals. PB, that's going to be the gauntlet, man, because these Challenger teams, they already had nothing to lose. Now they really have nothing to lose. They're looking for Premier Finals, and, well, one of the teams I'm sure is going to make it through.
Absolutely. And if you take a peek back to Titan series of the past, there's always 1 or 2 teams that are lurking in those challenger divisions, the up and comers, right? The ones that haven't been discovered yet. that are a force to be reckoned with. If you look back to the first few seasons after we introduced the Challenger Division, you saw C4 Esports come out of there and win the Premier Division multiple times over. So we saw them. We saw some other teams pop up and finish in the top 3 in Premier coming out of that Challenger Division. So there are always teams to watch out for. So it will not be a walk in the park for these teams going down to compete in the Challenger Finals, which again will be happening on the 9th of December. Cannot wait for you guys to join us there for that. It's going to be super exciting. And again, the Challenger Division going to get their opportunity on the main stage to show what they can do. And 6 of those teams will be rejoining this lobby, the top 10 who are moving on here today.
Wonder if we'll get another edition of Zombie Boys to join us in the mix, huh? That would be awesome. That would be awesome. What a day it was. An exciting 4 maps. We had storylines starting from map 1 all the way into map 4. There's your qualifiers, and it was the longest Titan series to date. Again, these competitors competed 2 days a week on Sunday as well as today for the broadcast across 3 total weeks, and not even to mention the North American pro scrims that ended up taking place with 16 teams competing today, also competing during those pro scrims. By the way, that'll also be concluding on the 5th, where $4,500 will be earned by the rosters at the top. Exciting stuff, so you can get your fill on the 16 teams here. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Of course, to go to YouTube, though, for your final words. PB, we'll start with you. What do you got to say before we get out of here?
I'm just so happy to be on the desk, man. Casting PUBG Mobile, one of my favorite things to do. Love watching esports, and it's so cool to see the Titan series become an official part of PUBG Mobile esports and give all of these teams an opportunity to take things to that next level, to get onto those main stages at the LANs, at the pro events, and have an opportunity to kind of go to Worlds, if you will. And it all starts here with the Titan series. So again, happy to be back, and always thrilled with the quality of play that this region puts out. Very fun to watch.
Without question. And Dave, you've been here since the start, baby. We got more to do. That's going to be coming up. What's your final words before we
X Factor, we'll see you in the Premier Finals. Got big hopes.
Right.
Just had a bad day. But shout out to Maryland NA. Honestly, listen, I apologize for sleeping on the squad weeks 1, weeks 2. Today, beautiful games from this team. Definitely going to be rooting for them come Premier Finals. We got $20,000 on the line next week. It's gonna be hype. I'm pumped up. I'm ready to go. So thanks for having me, fellas.
Absolutely.
Can I co-sign that real quick, Taylor,
Sure.
before you sign us out of here? I'm gonna co-sign that. X Factor. We'll see you in the Premier Finals. Go get it done down there. Good luck to you.
Uh-oh, it's over now. It's over already. PB and Dave have ruined it, X Factor, and you know who to blame, okay? Hey, it's been a great day. It's been a great 3 weeks in general, but there's still more to come. Join us this Thursday for the NA Pro Scrims. Again, the conclusion, $4,500. Who will end up earning it? The 16 teams you've been watching over the past 3 weeks will once again compete during the NA Pro Scrims, 7 Eastern Time this Thursday. But going into next week, on Monday, we've got the Challenger Finals. You'll see the bottom 6 teams from the day once again return to the main broadcast to try and earn their spot into Premier Finals, which will take place on Tuesday for $20,000. But we're not done just yet. We also come back on Wednesday for the Ladies Finals. Very, very important. Be here on Wednesday for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. It was fun earlier in the year. It's going to be fun once again on Wednesday. So whether it be Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, PUBG Mobile, it just keeps on going. For myself, Taylor, Reflections Noble, Mustache Day, Power Bang, our production crew, and you in chat, thank you so much for being here. Be back again this Thursday in a Pro Scrims, $4,500, 7 Eastern. We'd love to have you. Talk about that tiebreaker, right? Maryland X Factor tied at 1-1. So when it comes to their top 10 placement, but a lot of ego on the line. This very well could be a snapshot. Pulls a bit too deep. The car rolls in. Versa, no wonder he can't.
Trying to pick him up, but it might be too little too late here. Straight out of the ball.
Aim.
Putting out the pressure. Well sitting in 12th place. And it's going to be straight out of Nepal coming in with the
cross the road with the Uzi. You're going to be getting caught in the open right there from
trying to play and secure position, but it's a delight to watch as an audience member. So the viewer
went from no eliminations to 7 eliminations.
So that's going to be a 3v3. Meanwhile, let's not wait. Let's go ahead and get into it. Mambe is pushing up aggressively.
Has 0 They are going to have an opportunity right now to pick some up, but they're going to have to go through Cook's little pocket table. That's crazy.
Yeah, Baby Tang to overexpose himself. He ends up paying the price. Becker cooks a nade, doesn't connect. No, it doesn't. Doesn't connect. Malaz has to dip to the right. Ooh. He takes a ton of damage, and Baby Tang. Oh, 3 point. Yes, do it. Yes, 3 points.
No. What were we saying?
So what were you saying?
They're falling.
Gang with the DBS, trying to get some damage on the board. There goes one. Almost getting the confirmation. No, we do get the confirmation.
I think it gets a little bit of chip damage, but it's not going to be enough to get a drop. And Maryland versus drops yet another, and you're now down to just one if you're Maryland.
Free fire. There's one. XP3 behind the tree. Got him. Here's another one. Got him. But play.
Cookie Mitsuki has to jump out.
Tree.
He's going to get lasered.
Wow.
And now it's up to XYZ. And in that hold up, maybe there's a glimmer of hope. XYZ gets one, but it's shortly
to get at least 1 point today. And here it is. Wow. With taking out SLR and then maybe even just wiping out the smokes through the windows, really trying to cross their dots and mark their Becker doing the same thing. Crushy's gonna be jumping up top.
Who took him out too, so X-Force misses out on a relatively healthy. It makes this in-game very exciting. Meanwhile, Crow.
The play that the other two needed, because neither one of those other squads could push in.
Of the crossfire that Crow and Caprice kind of have right now in this building is here as they square up. This still in that shack over there. Ooh, nice little shot.
Relatively safe, but I think NRG, they might have just lost it. It connects, and it's going to be 0-2. The team.